Peace to the family. We here. Peace to the family. We are in the building. Glad that y'all came out. We're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna have a debate. We're gonna start having debate nights on I Am Brother Polite. I hope you guys are interested in that. I certainly am. Tonight we may see vintage Brother Polite against the Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites. We have the Guerrilla Hebrew, and we also have, who else? Brother Michael Edwards from the Hebrew Israelites. And I will be bringing in my brother Ankh. And we are gonna have a jolly old time tonight, aren't we? This is gonna be great. I want you guys to stay tuned, stay in the know. I'm actually sending our guests the links right now so we can get to work in as real time as possible. Thank you all for being here. Means a whole lot. Means a whole lot. Let's get this thing going. So the first thing we got to do is get these brothers in the chat. I want you to hold tight. I didn't know what to name this. And the reason why I didn't exactly know what to name this show is because we have a number of things we have to cover and it will not fit in the description. I didn't want to be undermining, but I said, I'm sorry. I'm getting so many, you know, when the stream starts, everybody has to get in there when the stream starts. And so I think I got it. Sending these messages out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the screen and give you guys a dosage of what we've been playing online. Got some really good information out. I want you to sleep on us. You have some real powerful information. Or maybe I'll play it from my Facebook. Let's go from Facebook. Well, first of all, I know what I need to do. I need to get you up to date with the current events. I'm gonna share the screen, family. I want you to take a look at these flyers. I will be in Baltimore and I will be in Cleveland, Ohio. Saturday, December 17, 2017. Oh boy, hold on. Let me get out of this. Oh, there we go. Let me just make sure. Let's do it again. We have these upcoming events. Saturday, December 17, 2016, Triumph or Try Trump. Featuring the brother King Los, Ashley, and myself. We're going to be talking about reconstructing the maternal consciousness and socio-economic disposition of the Black community. Again, we'll be saying how important it is to reconstruct our maternal consciousness. And we'll also be speaking about the socioeconomic disposition of the Black community. Of course, by maternal consciousness, we are definitely talking about the women and connectivity to their children. This is going to take place at Banneker Blake Academy for Arts and Sciences, 1101 Winston Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 212-1 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. This is on Saturday, December 17, 2016. Then we also have New Covenant Cleveland. New Covenant Cleveland, this will be December 23rd, where we'll be speaking on behavioral economics within the Black community and why we should support our own. This is going to take place at the York Wright Masonic Hall, 13512 Kinsman Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44120, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Okay, you can call Sister Lorient, 440-989-7730. Again, we talking about Triumph or Tri-Trump. That's December 17th. That's at Baltimore. Okay, that's going to be in Baltimore, Maryland. And the December 23rd event is going to be in Cleveland, Ohio. On that day, we'll first make sure that we give out toys at the first projects created in Cleveland, Ohio. We'll have the lecture, which is going to take place at York Wright Masonic Hall, 13512 Kinsman Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. So keep that in mind, family. That is extremely important. And then let me play this message right here. I think it's very powerful.
It deals with people who you started your life off with and what success does to them. People look at you strange, saying you changed, like you worked that hard to stay the same, like you're doing all this for a reason.
I try humility. I produce more work. You tear me down. It seems like the more I do, the more I get torn out.
And what happens most of the time, people change. People change around you because they start treating you different because of your success.
Say you wouldn't have been all that back in their day. And it made me think about you. I said, you know what? This reminds me of Brother Polite. Because a lot of the elders criticize your style. You winning, but they criticize the way you
song starts inspired by Basquiat. My chariot's on fire. Everybody took shots, hit my body up. I'm tired. They build me up to break me down, to build me up again. They're like, "Hold, we need you back so we could kill your ass again." You know, it's like this thing, this love, hate thing that the world has with success.
All right. And now I want y'all to take a look at this right here.
Every single day, feeding the people, nigga. I get a check every month for doing this. That's why I give my check. Give it to them. My body's full of bullet holes. It's full of bullet holes.
How much times you got shot?
I got shot 13 times, 5 different times. So, and I'm out here with one leg. You need to tell me y'all can't help? Y'all can't do nothing? Are you serious? I got one leg to this shit, bro. Y'all here for people. Y'all can't go ahead and help? Fuck y'all, fuck your family. That's how I feel.
Thanks.
That's how I feel. And I'm gonna continue what I'm doing until I rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here for people. I ain't ready for myself or get anything out of it. But guess what? I ain't get no good out of it.
All right. Let's try that one more time. Take a look at it one more time.
Every single day, feeding the people, nigga. I get a check every month for doing this. That's why I give my check. Give it to them. My body's full of bullet holes. It's full of bullet holes.
How much times you got shot?
I got shot 13 times, 5 different times. So, and I'm out here with one leg. You need to tell me y'all can't help? Y'all can't do nothing? Are you serious? I got one leg to this shit, bro. Y'all here for people. Y'all can't go ahead and help? Fuck y'all, fuck your family. That's how I feel.
Thanks.
That's how I feel. And I'm gonna continue what I'm doing until I rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here for people. I ain't ready for myself or get anything out of it. But guess what? I ain't get no good out of it.
That's what's up. Now, we put that out there so we can have you keep in mind that we also have this, our vegan revolution. And basically, the vegan revolution consists of gang members from several different places around the country, namely North Carolina, South Carolina, Baltimore, Washington, New York, New Jersey, specifically, as we keep growing, and of course some in Cali. A lot of us will be meeting up on December 17th and doing philanthropic work on December 18th. This vegan revolution was inspired by the brother Wolf from 300 Gangsters, or Wolf of 300 Gangsters, a very powerful and very prominent blood gang member and leader who has a strong heart. In fact, I'm mentoring that brother, Big Wolf. So shout out to 300 Gangsters, shout out to my brother PFK Boom, who has raised the political consciousness of the hood and has demanded many results from people that have been voted and elected into office. We actually have a special video being uploaded tomorrow with the brother PFK Boom on I Am Brother Polite, which will be airing around noontime tomorrow. It's going to be very powerful. We have a very powerful video that'll be up. So what we've created was an opportunity for the revolutionaries of the community to organize with the gang members or members of gang culture to do humanitarian works in the community. And the reason being is we understand that disease kills Black people more than anyone or anything else, particularly diabetes and cancer in our community. And of course, HIV and AIDS. We know disease has been responsible for most of all of our deaths. And a lot of these diseases and deaths have been created in the offset of us eating foods that do not correspond with our DNA and just bad decision making as far as the foods that we consume. We also know that we have perpetuated or perpetrated genocide amongst and against each other. So violence has been killing us in our community as well. And in the interim of all those things transpiring, we understand that poverty is on a rise on account to us eating the wrong way. And in light of poverty, we tend to eat wrong as well, lacking the resources, lacking the revenue to be able to afford the lifestyle. And then in addition to that, we understand that eating foods that are not as good or high in nutritional value or not alkaline tends to make us more violent or more evasive and inconsistent in emotion, which in turn leads to violence. So we said, how can we limit the violence, address the poverty issue, and address the disease issue, since these three things are plaguing our community? And we feel we have more control and more say over those particular things. We have a say over us killing each other. We have a say over us eating certain foods or putting certain foods in our mouths. We have a say over our poverty disposition if we employ group economics. Look at the vegan revolution. We came up with that, where the revolutionaries will work side by side with members of gang culture. And what we would do is provide the healthiest food to the best of our ability and give that to the homeless. Of course, this mission, so we're providing food for the homeless and we're providing food for people of the lower income community. And in doing so, it strengthens the brotherhood of the brothers and sisters from gang culture and the divide amongst the revolutionaries and the members of gang culture. We all work together, and in seeing the promise that is given to us in the form of a countenance, that it reflects the smile of the person who receives the food. It's an experience that causes the brothers and sisters to bond, people that are even less fortunate than ourselves. It is bringing together our brothers from different states. It is causing us to really lock arms and take on the social ills that plague us all, that we have a certain amount of control over. So with that being said, we ask you all to contribute to the vegan revolution. As we're addressing poverty, we're addressing self-genocide, fratricidal wars that has been taking place in our community. We're addressing disease. So we're no longer banging on each other. We're banging on poverty and we're banging on disease. That's the vegan revolution. So all you have to do is go to GoFundMe, you click it, go to GoFundMe and type in vegan revolution. And it doesn't matter what you do, just do something, family. As long as you do something, beggars can't be choosers. That's what I was taught. Do your best to show love. And if you show love once, show love again when you get the opportunity. We need as much support as possible because it costs for the brothers to travel into town. It costs for the brothers to give away the food. And we want to give away the best food possible. And in order to do that, we do need some support because we buy the food, we give it away. That's it. We have to buy more food again right after that. We buy the food, we give it away. That's it. We have to buy more food again. Never mind the gas and the toll and everything it takes for all of us to unite in brotherhood so we could bring that spirit of brotherhood into other cities and set up a flagship for gang culture giving back into the community the way it was in its inception. So keep that in mind, family. Keep that in mind. It's a lot of love that we are sharing in the community. And again, Triumph for Try Trump. I'll be there in Baltimore, Saturday, December 17th, 2016. You can call the number 410-303-4120 for more information on tickets. If you need to buy tickets for this event, call us at 410-303-4120. Okay, and then you have us in Cleveland, Ohio, December 23rd, 2016, Cleveland, Ohio. Work with us, family. Let's get it in. Work with us. Let's go back into the internet world. We here. Peace to the family. So we got a word from our sponsors. We got that out the way. I'm actually waiting on our guests. I told them to sign on for 6:30 because I was giving them grace in case they couldn't come in for 6 o'clock, which I was absolutely correct. Hold on, family. I'm reaching out to one of them. About to be on. We'll have some fun tonight, y'all. Are y'all ready for the debate? That's what I need to know. Let's see what's going on tonight. Let's see what you got going on, family. Let's see some of the comments in the chat. So don't forget. What up, family? Mason Classified. What's going on? I'm in Rock Squad up for real. We might have two members from the Amin Ra squad come out. One of which is Brother Ankh. And he may be bringing somebody else on. Let's get it in. What recent events do you want me to talk about? I'm reading the comments. What up, chat room? That's right. Shotgun Charlie, what's good? Hit me up at Facebook.com/Brother Polite. Hit me up right there. Baby girl, you can get me a tissue when you finish. Yeah, just want to make sure everything's crisp. Yes, sir. We about to go in. I just need to make sure. Quiet on the set. I just want to make sure everything is perfect for you guys, man. I want to give you the best resolution we can give you. What's up with Soldier Boy? Shaking my head. Man, I don't want to say nothing about the brother before you do a video of me. pull that damn Drake out on me, man. I don't want to do nothing with that brother. You know, I actually like Soldier Boy too, man. I like his energy and his spirit. I always worry about the brother because he's doing good, man. He got money. He's doing real good. I always hope the best for the brother. I don't know how to wish the worst for people that made money from the Black community. If I see them do anything that looks like they may be endangering themselves, I always hope that they get out of that or somebody tells them something in real time. So yeah, my heart goes out to that brother. But he's young, man, and he's doing it. He should nickname himself Draco. I mean, he is known for that Draco, man. He be pulling it out of expensive bags and shit. Like, that man is the man. I like him, yo. I like him.
Yeah, Quavo, great, man. He put Quavo on, man.
Yeah, he showed Quavo love, but you know, I don't know. There's always something that might be. There's things that go on that we don't know about as well. So I always reserve the right to believe people just not bugging the freak out for no reason.
But 9 years ago, it's real.
You think he bugging?
Yeah, because it was in the text he was telling him too. They was texting each other. Yeah. Quavo came out of his face. So it was like,
you think Quavo's wrong?
Yeah.
Oh.
Most definitely.
Okay. So
Soldier Boy was on before all of them niggas. He was coming from niggas on. That's a fact.
Oh, we got some Quavo support.
I love the Migos, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mess with them too. I mess with them. I like them. I like all them parties, man. I just hope they get it together because eventually somebody got to get hurt. Eventually, there's a lot of videos that's been surfacing in the month of December, on the cusp of December, in November. Oh, this right here. I'm drinking some Alizé. Now let me start. I'm drinking some of that Easy Jesus. Nah. No, I'm drinking Martinelli's apple juice, man. I like to sip it like it's wine to be cheap. You know, when I get around my homies, like my man over here will be drinking, I have to pull out the grape juice out of fancy bottles and pretend that it's liquor while everybody's getting it in so I can fit in. I get that little apple cider out the champagne bottle. I cut my eyes low and just drink it like what you sipping on? Grape juice, yo. I just gotta fit in. I hope no one asks me what I'm sipping on. So I say, yeah, right, you over there getting right. Nah, this ain't Noriega joint, man. This ain't the drinking champs, I think they call it. About to do the conscious version, the drinking champs. Gonna have some ginger shots. Those is hard for people to take down. Tony Lauren, why people ask me about her? What's she been doing lately? Apple juice is pseudo. Man. Let me send this last message out, family, and we should be good. But we're gonna get this in, family. Now this guy sends me a new sends me a new email. Let me send this thing out. Let me send this guy a new email. I'm sorry for the wait. These guys got me doing something totally different. So I got to rely on my guests. Let's see. Mm-hmm. I'm sending the brother Michael Edwards. What the freak? Send the brother Michael Edwards the link. He sends me a new email, fronting like he'd been sent me this email before. Oh, maybe he did. Guerrilla Hebrews in traffic, family. Brother Anka be on in a few. So far, so hood. Let's make the hood great again, family. Let's make the hood great again. That's our slogan. Go to that GoFundMe. Make sure you show your love, show your support. We doing some serious work with those gangbangers. They are now gang banging on poverty, gang banging on disease. You can't ask for nothing more better than that.
Health is wealth, baby. Health is wealth. Remember that.
Let's do this.
Yo, Polite, is my screen sideways?
Your screen is definitely sideways, brother.
All right, hold on.
Don't be looking at me sideways, man.
All right, I gotta fix it.
Uh-oh. I thought the Hebrews was running scared tonight, brother. I thought y'all tucked tail. You heard Uncle was going to be in the building. I said, man, let me find out you was bluffing. Well, it's all good. I said it. I told y'all. I said it for 6:30 for our guests to come in at 6:31. Not bad. Not bad at all. I know how to play these cards right. Waiting on you, brother. Michael Edwards.
All right, I'm ready, man. How about now? Is everything okay with the screen?
Yeah, try to get some more light if you can.
Okay, let me see. How about that?
It's a lot better.
Okay. Look, I got a present to show you. Look what I got on my walls. Hold up.
Uh-oh.
Can you see that?
What you doing with that on your wall? Why you doing that?
I told you we lived in Egypt, Mitzrayim, for over 400-something years. This is our stuff too.
Man, you Hebrews can't be claiming our stuff.
You see that seal right there? It's a little old.
Come on, stop jacking, man. Come on, man.
Come on.
I know, right?
That's straight Egypt, man. Come on.
Talk about his our stuff.
Nah, man.
Trouble tonight, brother.
Come on, brother.
Don't do that. Don't do that, bro.
Stick to that holy book, man. Y'all got no pictures in that book.
Yeah, where's your artwork? Where's the Hebrew artwork? Got you. You're being slick now.
Look.
Yeah, that looks familiar. Where's the Hebrew artwork?
It's all artifacts.
Okay. Don't get caught slipping because I'll get playing.
All right, man. That's enough show and tell, right?
Yeah. So, talk to me, man. Talk to the people. What's your name? Where you from? For the people that don't know who you are, who are getting ready for this live debate.
Well, my name is Michael Edwards. My YouTube channel, I go under the name Mikael Edwards, so it's the same thing, just with the Hebraic culture suffix. RBG Hebrew, Mr. Controversial. If you type any of those things, then you'll come right to me and you see a bit of what I'm about. First and foremost, I'm a father, husband, and a professional musician. That's my gift, and that's my love, man. And also, I wanted to let you guys know that next year, if you live in the southeast part of the country, southwest part of the country, excuse me. If you live in the southwest part of the country, I'll be offering a service of job placement for musicians. And I mean musicians of all type, rather it be live musicians. So I'm going to be launching that next year, and I'm going to be needing some help from some of the good brothers like Brother Polite to help me, put that out there. It'll be an awesome service, and I know we got plenty of musicians. And that's what I'm about. Black empowerment. I'm about helping our brothers and sisters, unifying where we can on commonalities, and again, doing the best financial job that we can do as a personal institution in our houses. So that's one aspect of myself. I am a Hebrew scholar. I wouldn't say to what degree. Maybe we'll find it out tonight.
Uh-oh.
I just got a lot of love for all of these brothers. The brother Polite there, the brother Unc, which I've been giving Unc scholarship gashes in his head for a minute. So we're gonna get to see that live and in color tonight. But truly, what I am about is our people. Whether you a Kemethian, culture believer, whether you're Islam, whether you're 5%er, more, whatever, we're all still brothers, and we have a commonality that lies in West Africa. And so, that's what I am. I get a lot of heat and flack for that because I love a lot of eclectic people and their beliefs. But I think that's what my school of thought teaches me to do. And that's what I seek to do when, it's allowed. Sometimes you got to get animalistic, though. But, I am what I am. And I like your acronym, man. Your screen name, I Am Brother Polite.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Like how it looks aesthetically between the lowercase and the uppercase, playing with it.
Right.
Having a good time with it. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Mr. Controversial in the house. So, Unc is going to be coming in. What is it exactly what's your points of contention with Unc? Because the last time y'all was on the show, we had to cover another subject matter, and some things were going on in there. Some extracurricular activity, I would say, was going on. And now tonight, y'all will be able to deal with those issues at length. So I don't want you to choke.
I've never choked in the 5.5 years that I've been doing public speaking. So not one time. So I would say I'm the Hebrew Mayweather. Yeah, Unc has taken a lot of beatings from me, especially when I was doing the Hebrew War Machine thing, and I was helping the brother Nasi build that. And all of us built it together, whatever it was, the particular unity that brought us together. And there's some great friendships made out of that. But that's where me and Unc picked things up right before Kemet on Trial. And I wanted to bring a lot of that tonight, not the things that were presented on Kemet on Trial, because as a private contributor to research for Kemet on Trial, I contributed a lot, but most of my things that I contributed didn't get brought to the fore because there was a little bit too much going on. So I wanted some answers. I got several questions, several hard questions, and I'm a Hebrew that studies science. I mean, I got the college curriculum books, biology, physiology, anthropology, and rest. And so I want to just not defame any tradition that we have, African, in any degree, but I want to answer or ask some hard questions that I felt like were never answered. Loves to dance, man. I mean, so we're going to see how well he danced tonight. We're going to make him do the Sandman Sims. In love, though. In love. In love.
So, I want to ask you a question. Let us get ready to dance until these guys come in. I'm going to call and make sure I know where they at so we don't get too carried away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these jerks in the chat, boy. Michael Noak and Michael Edwards, like they just exposed us somehow. Man, if the FBI would just give you guys a job already, y'all would be the happiest Negroes in the world. What a job.
They would be the best. They would be the
Yo, they would just give you a job. But you guys are just, what did they say? Underprepared? What's that? And you just don't have enough credentials. Niggas can't even spy right. You done expose yourself as a wannabe spy.
Straight up.
Damn, if they would just give you guys a gig, man. Shit, send them an email.
It's ironic that you said that, because a lot of our people, I was speaking on how to become an entrepreneur. It's easy as 1, 2, 3 on my channel the other day.
Yeah.
And I was talking about some of these, couch potatoes and YouTube trolls and these people that sit up and just try to make life hell for whoever they can.
Yeah.
You could into money for yourself, like brother said, you could become a federal agent, or you could learn how to maximize on your minimized time. You could sell your wasted time playing the Xbox. Teach somebody how to do it. Instead of coming here defaming black people that have your best interests at heart. That's what happened to all of our greats. You hating black devils and many white devils killed them.
That's a fact.
Contemplate that. What does the hat stand for, Polite? I'm looking at your hat. What is that, brother?
It stands for the best ever. Floyd Mayweather, right? TBE.
That's fine.
I like the mantra.
Right. Yeah. Always speaking positive confession is great, especially over your home and your children and your marriage and these finances that are so troubled today. I bet you, watch this. All the people in the chat room that ain't rich, that have bigger problems than defaming your brother and sister, let's ask you to hit one. Because I know there's some people that can't pay their doggone rent, that don't work for themselves to any degree, that don't do for their children or their wife or their girlfriends or whatever. I'm talking about men and women, But your time is chosen prime time to waste instead of worrying about that which you could better. That's a shame. That's a shame. And it's a shame that we got so many. But that's all right. I wouldn't have anything to teach if everybody was well. So I understand that paradigm.
Yeah, man. How could you be the only one on there? Michael Edwards and I are on there right now live. Let me see if I send you it again. You can't be in front of the computer right now? Yeah. Hold on. Hold on, family. That's the brother Ankh. Working to get him in.
Come on in.
You and I were supposed to be in here, and then Gorilla Hebrew, we're waiting for him. Michael Edwards is in here. You know, he's ready. He's drooling. He waiting. He said he got some special information for you. He said he finally gonna take you down. He said you've been doing that forever. Yeah, yeah.
I know. I love Ankh though, man. I'm from the South. Well, I was born in Detroit and I grew up in Louisiana. And man, I used to go to the Freaknik every time my older brothers that was in the hood could take me with them. I just like, man, Atlanta's always been beautiful. Always. It's got a lot of ignorance in Atlanta too, though. I ain't gonna lie.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, buddy. It used to be a real good place to, you know, like a job hub for Black people with the communities that they had, like in the 90s and late 80s. I'm not sure about it now. You know, because it seemed like so many of our people have kind of gravitated towards the street life and that glamour, you know, glamorizing that.
Yeah, how we looking, bro? What do you think, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? All right. All right, let's get it. We gonna buy time. Let's get it. All right, we're gonna have to improvise, Mike, because my partner and your partner for tonight are BSing. Now let's stop. So let's just get some casual warfare. You know, I had some bombs for the brother, Taliban style. So I'm not going to give that to you. That belongs to him. So I'm a freestyle. I'm going to spit a hot 16 for you. And we're going to get down to the nitty gritty.
Let's do it.
For this Bible.
Let's
let the action begin. This is what the people want to see anyway. I was trying to save this for later so we could do a main event. You know what I'm saying? But let's just give them a little something. Because they haven't really seen us go to war, because whenever we got involved, we normally had to make light of a situation, right, or I had to work you into the side of the channel.
Right.
Because at that time, I used to hang up on your ass every time.
I know. I say you took a lot of heat from me.
Took a lot of heat. You feel me?
You remember brother said, you remember he said, that's a nigga polite. Don't talk to him.
So I want to have a powerful conversation rooted in common sense. I wanted to call it common sense versus the Bible. I didn't want it to come off the meaning. So the way that I wanted to say it, I know it come off the meaning, but listen to this. The sense that people make of the Bible content isn't common. So there's a common sense that I believe we all are born with, so to speak. And then there's a newly found sense that takes place when we start subscribing to the scriptures. Right. That's how I feel. I feel their sense of the world is different from the sense of the world that the average person outside the Bible yields to. So I wanted to make rational of that idea because I want people to understand where I'm coming from, so it doesn't just sound so to me. Yeah, I mean it still can be shots fired. You feel me? At least people to understand where I'm coming from. That why does this happen? Is that my computer?
Yeah, I think that's you.
That Google thing, man. Hold on. I ain't about to go through that this stream. That happened to me one stream. I was going nuts. Incoming video call. There we go. Caught the culprit. Why Negroes like to call you off of internet outlets? You know, if you ain't got the phone number, yeah, so they be on the caller like, this is my man. Like, come on, man, don't do that. Yeah, you just messed up the stream with that. So, common sense or not so common sense, let's go at it. This is what we're going to do with the show. We're going to improvise. We're going to get it in right now, my brother. If these questions are too hard for you, I understand. Let me just say that for the record, Mike. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Hold tight. Hold on to that seat. Here's the first question. How you know God exists? When did you find out he existed?
Beautiful question. My idea of God and the makeup of God is, I don't want to discuss that, but like you said, how do I know that God exists?
You're already losing, Mike. You're already going down, Mike. You coming out the gate shaky.
Damn, homie.
You're coming out the gate shaky, Mike.
Yeah, homie.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right. I'm going to get observational science. Observational, rooted in vision and all of your senses, right? To document an observation. Doesn't even have to be a right observation, but just simply observational science. Jesus Christ, or the man known as Jesus Christ in the Bible, speaks to a man concerning his lack of faith or lack of belief. And Jesus Christ tells him, basic African tradition, because when we look at Geb, Shu, and Nut, we're looking at 3 prime factors of creation. Those same 3 prime factors are a part of the Torah, and even this, what the man so-called Jesus brought out. The man says to, I believe, Nicodemus, he says, well, the man asked him, how are you born again? A question similar to what you said. And Jesus Christ answers him and says, are you not a teacher in Israel? And should you not, or do you not know these things? He goes on to say, look at the tree and the leaves and the wind. He says, you know not where it comes from or goes, but we see its effect. This is basic observational science. I mean, it's even more basic than the essentials of anthropology and physiology. Observational science has to do with a prime testimony. Absolute truth. When you see the wind in the trees, you have to testify that that invisible force is there.
So,
now,
okay.
B-clause question. Here's it. I know God exists because I have tried God. The Bible declares that you should try the Spirit of God by the spirits, plural, to see whether it be from God. And when I tell you, my son has a scholarship that I prayed for when I first, him and his mother conceived him. Have never been through, any jail time and slavery and none of those things. And I'm telling you, even myself, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, in the heart of hell, and I'm still here. I did a lot of living in Louisiana during the time when it was 10 years straight, the murder capital of the world. I'm gonna wind it up. I live in California in a place where I can walk down the street 2 blocks. And brothers, right now at this time, you can't see nothing but this. And maybe their hands. And I'm saying, when God has shown me that I couldn't do the impossible things that were done for me, and you look back at those things as a moment instead of something that killed you, that's observational science made plain and clear. My life is a testimony that God is real, along with all of the cosmos. They all testify to an intelligence.
All right. I'm treading on thin waters right here, because once people start bringing in their family, I have to walk around that, because I don't want to say anything in disgrace in light of the fact that you incorporated such a very personal part of your experience with God to your family. So what I will do, so I can raise hell properly, is ask you, do you accredit the good that transpires in your life to God? And there's a reason I'm asking the question, so I just need to know that. Do you accredit the good, like God is good? Yes, all the time. That's what they be saying, right? Do you accredit the good that takes place in your life as a phenomenon of God?
I do.
Now, that's perfect. That's perfect.
10 words.
That's perfect. Hold on now. That's
okay.
Perfect. So this is what I need. Now, this is important stuff, because I need you to understand how I'm wired so we can really put this thing together. Now, there is a murderer in the Black community. Not only does he murder, he also is a pedophile. Not only is he a pedophile, he's also a rapist of the Black woman. Maybe he may be 2 out of 3. Maybe he's only 1 out of 3. Maybe he's 3 out of 3. Whichever one is the most practical for you, take that one. And now what I will say is this. He's about to cross the street, and someone such as yourself that accredits God for all the good things that take place says, hold on, stop. And he realizes, damn, I would have got hit by a car had Michael Edwards not hold me back. Did God just save him because that was an act of good? He just got saved from being hit by a car. Does that guy, the murderer / and or the rapist / and or the pedophile, when something good goes on in his life, should he also accredit or make synonymous with the good that takes place in his life as an act of God? Because then God will be doing good by a rapist / a pedophile / a murderer of Black people. How come good is taking place in his life if the good that takes place in one's life is synonymous with God? Can we now invalidate that fact? Or is God only good to you? Or do we have something that we can use as a barometer to identify where good begins on behalf of God and when good is just good, void of God?
Right. That's a beautiful question, brother. And I mean, that's a real good question. I will point you to the definition for the word algorithm, right?
Yes.
Problem solving abilities. Also, I'm going to point you to the word catalyst. Okay? Catalyst is an initiator. Begins a chain of reaction or one simple event, right? Now, before I started a minute ago, I said that I didn't want to get to my idea about God because my idea about God may be perspective only to me. But truly, what I see God as is a catalyst that begins the process of prosperity through algorithm. That means when God formed me through the seed of my mother and my father, those things that were put in me naturally, like the love for music and many other things, those things began by a catalyst. I feel the creator of the universe, of the multiverse, of everything. So when I say to you, the good lies in above and below, because everything righteous should reflect that, brother. Like it should reflect as above, so below. And so in the fact that God gives good, and is a good catalyst. Even in science, he starts the process and we just live it out. In that sense, God's glory should go to him, or that being, or even that power. But there is no common sense in saying that I didn't get up this morning and practice 7 hours for my gig that I do weekly, right? And the Bible even tells us that. It says that a man that does not work is not worthy of his hire, right? It even says that even the ox that treads the corn, it shouldn't be muzzled. And so even those things are a testimony to a duality, Brother Polite, a goodness initiatory catalyst through that which is God, the creator, and then man meeting that catalyst with deeds. The book of James says faith without works is dead.
Now, this is what I'm going to say. I don't really feel satisfied with that answer, but I'll live with it so I could go on to the next conversation. But we're going to come back to it.
Okay.
We definitely need to. There's Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. The Lord says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So I say it again. I form the light. This is Isaiah 45, 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So now I want to ask you, is homosexuality evil, according to you, by way of the word of God?
By way of the word of God, it is definitely
active evil or against the law.
Say again?
Isn't it active? I can't hear you.
The last piece that you were saying?
Is homosexuality an active evil?
Okay. I say that by the biblical standards, absolutely, it is an abomination as it relates in the book.
That's right. So, why did God create homosexuality? Because God made peace and he created evil. Why did God create homosexuality? Couldn't he have just made man with the exception of that? Why did he make the chichimon?
Okay. Fundamental misunderstanding in that which you just read from the passage of Isaiah. That passage from Isaiah was a reference to the chapter 1 in the book of Genesis, where it does indeed say that God even separated the light from the darkness. Now keep in mind, frame is polite, listen to me well.
Yes, sir.
It says that God separated the light from the darkness, but then it also says that God created the sun, the moon, and the stars, right, later on. So we have a duality even here. We have a literal creation of sun and moon and stars. Let's throw that one out the window for right now.
Okay.
The first mention of light, the light of understanding and wisdom. God created light and even the darkness symbolizing spiritual wickedness or even death. So now if I go back to speaking about the catalyst and the science that God is and that sets in motion, again, not ever force his will on a man, neither does God create the type of evil that is destructive to the temple. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Destructive to the temple are things that cause you to be unpure. Certain sex acts, certain dietary lack, in standards. And there are many more things. But again, those things are our choice. Black people that have diabetes, those things can be passed on genetically, a small part of it. But a lot of it has to do with our own personal choices. And that's what I teach a lot of my people, that the practicality in the Bible is the thing to look for, because that will help you when we're looking for, when we're looking for the truth in the Bible. We shouldn't look for it externally. We have to look internally for the answers, even in a book like that. And so what I'm saying is simply, God does not create evil deeds. Now that's a much better way to say it. God does not create even good deeds, but God creates people. God creates the consciousness within the people. But God never does a thing. And at the last point, Lucifer or Hillel, the being called that, do you not realize that out of all of the eons that being has been in recorded biblical history, he has only sinned a handful of times? And sin meaning missing the mark of perfection or even trying to be righteous. So even the Satan does not force its will on you. It is a catalyst also. Everything in the spiritual realm is. And so we just the hand, but there is a cause behind it all. And we have a choice as the hands. Go ahead, brother. I don't want to get too long-winded. That's
not a problem. I wish we haven't become such close friends. So I on your ass. Pause. Such a good friend of mine, man. Such a good friend of mine. I'm trying to compose myself as I want to blurt out a lot of things. But you my homie. So I gotta save you. I'm just laying up the hands right now on the computer. Lay that.
You was too easy on me, Polite.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Come on, brother.
What's it?
Come on, brother. So God is not creating good deeds. He's not creating bad deeds.
Right.
God is just creating consciousness.
Yes.
I don't know if you mean conscious as in the mental faculty to which one can discern right from wrong. That's spelled conscience, or conscious, being responsive to stimuli. Because in either event, if he created conscious or conscious, he would simultaneously be creating good and evil. For we would have to either be able to respond to it or be aware of it. So whichever definition you want to take, God would have to be the one creating the good or creating the peace and creating the evil. You know, you can pick which conscious you want. Hell, he doesn't do that active evil. He doesn't do the good deed either. I get it, but he still created the incentive. He still created the drive. He still created the temptation. People say God tests us all the time. You feel me? Is he only giving us good tests? Or he's also giving us tests to be wicked? I mean, sometimes I look at it, most times I look at it, like the devil is more God and God is more the devil. And I know that sounds like wickedness to a lot of people out there. But God seemed like he body all the people. He's pushing wigs back. He's flooding the place. He's setting things ablaze. He's saying, hey, let me see if you're going to sacrifice your son. Never mind. He was about to do it. Chill. Now your son got to walk around going, damn, the big homie was actually about to sacrifice me. You feel what I'm saying? But the devil all the while, he just whispers and merely and then we merely hearken to the call like it says in the Quran, which is where I agree with you that according to biblical scripture, the devil only sinned a few times for what it's worth. I agree with you on that matter. Which now I gotta wonder, was God lying a lot of times? Because the devil gets to go around and do what he want to do. How come the devil has so much power, my brother? What is wrong with someone saying, you know what, the devil's God and God is the devil? What's wrong with that?
Well,
maybe we've just been lied to. Maybe these beings exist. Because if I believed in the Bible, I would believe the devil was God. That's what I would believe. And I would believe God is the devil. Because it seemed like the devil going around trying to wake people up and God keep banging on him. He's like, yo, the day you eat of that tree, yo, you should know good from evil. Explain that to me. The devil goes to the first people on the planet in the garden. And he says, I just want you to know. Who says this? I just want you to know that the day that you eat from that tree, that ye shall know good from evil. You feel me?
Right.
What is wrong with that? What is wrong with knowing good from evil? What is that about, Michael? Because I don't want to take it out of context. It's your scripture.
Okay.
I'm going to humble myself. I need you to tell me what was so wrong about learning good from evil. And then she had the apple figuratively, and now her eyes was truly open. What's wrong with that? What is all of that about? I don't want to jump to conclusions. But once you give me an answer, then I can start working.
Okay. Well, the first thing that's wrong with that, Brother Polite, is you misquoted it.
No doubt. Tell me.
The Bible never declares that that God or the Lord God would told them that they would know good from evil. You see, that is a product of what I was just speaking to you about. But stay with me. I want you to hear me. God tells them the day that you partake of this tree, not a literal tree, not an apple.
No doubt.
But the day that you partake of this, you will surely die.
Okay.
Now, this is not, again, we have to frame it in the Aramaic structure that the Bible is written in, the Old Testament or Torah. Again, I just told you an allegory, or a summary, a literal example, and then an idiomatic example before. And I'm saying the same thing here. The same thing here with this principle. You shall surely die means the same thing that we have to resurrect ourselves from, even as a Kemet scholar or a Hebrew scholar. In all of our books, even the coming forth by day speaks about a resurrection. The New Testament speaks about a resurrection. The book of Ezekiel all speak about a resurrection. And many of these things are visionary conveyances. Okay, and many times they come across as idiom. So what I'm saying to you is that the consciousness that we talked about before, and that was a beautiful point you made, because there is a difference between conscious decisions that I make versus consciousness. Consciousness is yourself, your true self, your essence, your electronic part of you, the part of you that powers your heart, right? All of those things are separate. But now again, here, the catalyst that I spoke about before, even in the book, it tells us to take on the mind of Christ, Philippians 2:5. And when it says that, it is literally talking about receiving a new consciousness, that which causes things to be, a catalyst, right? And so in that sense, we renew our mind, we renew our bodies, we renew our walk, and we see the true essence of what death and life is. Even in Masonry, we have elements of that, being resurrected and made upright and whole. So, that's a pervasive theory that is constant and common throughout each of our Black and other spiritual systems, right? Resurrection, a duality, your conscious and consciousness, and then what you do, how you develop, how you evolve. I don't know if I even touched your question. Is that 10% satisfactory? Do you understand what I meant?
I'm walking. Watch this. Right here in Genesis 3:22, it says, Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Mm-hmm. Now, lest he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Now, I may have this whole thing out of context. I'm looking for some foundation so I could decipher if I like it or I don't. You are the Hebrew scholar. I need to see if this is befitting to my level of consciousness and the way I choose to live life. What is the big problem with knowing good from evil like God? It says, Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. It sounds suspect. Somebody wants to be educated, but I don't know, because this might be read out of context. So please put it it into proper context so we can understand why God doesn't want us to know good from evil.
Well, that was a beautiful question, and it's not out of context. You framed it in the exact thought that would arise.
Okay.
But again, as I'm saying, all things have to be congruent. As above, so below. Now, we are both fathers, and then we're not going to get personal, but I'm just going to liken what we do to each other.
Yes.
If I have a son, and my son is 6 years old, there is a particular time for my son to pick up a razor, a knife, a gun, a pencil. All of those things have different age ranges, and all of those things could better the child and cause it to have a more full life, or it could kill the child. Taking point, the gun, right? Every man today, and even our Black Panther brothers from the 60s said every house should have a shotgun. But should every person have a shotgun? The babies? No. But there will be a time when they will need a shotgun, a razor, you see, a knife, or all of these things that may not be appropriate at that time. Now, why is that so important to Genesis? Well, we're talking about a fresh creation. We're talking about new babies, not babies coming through the womb, because I don't believe that's how the first humans were created. There was no womb. And I have to believe that the man and the woman was formed. And so, because I'm saying that, hold on, Polite. This crazy computer to pop up. Sorry about that. And so I'm saying that that's Hillel right there. Okay. Now, all I'm simply saying is that these two beings called Adam and Hawa, these people are new to the planet, new to this galaxy, this solar system, but they are related to be created as fully formed individuals, not birthed, but still up here. Look at the Neanderthal, we can understand how fully formed beings cannot be ready for things that, you know, are for a mature and seasoned and sane person. And so in a true sense, because we love our children, you're a great father. I mean, exceptional brother. But there are things that are not appropriate to teach your daughter, to even speak about around your daughter, and definitely nothing to hand her, you know, like a taser or something that, you know, all young ladies may need later on. And so that's what I'm suggesting here. This death is ignorance, not knowing what everything in the garden could possibly do, and everything outside of that particular existence called the garden could do, right? So you understand, there's a time, what I'm saying is, as Solomon said, there's a time and place for everything under the sun, and this is what this verse portrays. It doesn't portray a literal death, because if it did, they would never ever, you know, there wouldn't be progenitors of humanity.
So we're going to keep that, and we're going to contextualize this thing based on what you suggested to us, and we're going to read the rest of it. It says, the man has become as one of us to know good and evil. And now, okay, so man has become like one of us to know good and evil. And there's just some things that we should not know prematurely, granted our age. We'll take that, and we'll continue to read on to see if it makes sense as we fill in the variables. Lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Now, how does what you suggest to us about us learning information prematurely correspond with lest he put forth his hand and take also the tree of life? And that is an actual tree of life, and eat and live forever.
Well, concerning the tree, I have a totally different idea.
Totally different move.
That is a literal tree.
Oh, okay. I only said that because they're actually using the word tree, but I'm with it.
Right, because all throughout the Bible's language, you're talking about a source that is rooted in Aramaic.
No problem.
Right, if you're dealing with the Targum, so you're understanding what is implied and what is there, you know.
Let's figure this thing out. So we're talking about, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. How does that connect to us learning information prematurely because we wasn't alive long enough? How does that connect with this tree of life?
Okay. I would liken this living forever existence to, let's frame it in the idea of Idi Amin. Okay, I know that's like, what the hell? Idi Amin? But Idi Amin was a very wicked person. Killed a lot of people, black people, Africans. But imagine what Idi Amin would have been like if he was immortal in his flesh, not just his spirit and soul. Imagine what all of us would be, as devious as we can be before we get 10, much less some of these older, devious 60 and 50-year-old brothers. Our path on this earth is as a pilgrim. We are learning to elevate or to graduate to the next, I wouldn't say dimension, but the next plane. And so, give me the last part of what you said again, Brother Polite, because I want to.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, lest he put forth his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. How do we contextualize that in retrospect to us learning information too prematurely, granted our age, since that is the interpretation of the first part, where God seems to be upset that we can now discern from good and evil. Now we are like God. So when God says now we're like him, we know good from evil, he says that in the bad sense. Like, no, we don't want them on our level. You give us perspective and say, well, there's some things you just don't want to teach new souls or beings that didn't live long enough, so to speak. So now I just want to know, what's this stuff about dying and everything? Lest he put forth his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. How does that mix in with young people or new beings in existence learning things that they shouldn't know that God knows? And I'm trying to find out the comparison, why God would even compare our knowledge to his, and then get mad if we in ego say we are God, or in ego we compare ourselves to God, because God is creating a similitude here. God is suggesting that we can know something similar in his capacity, which that in itself I thought would be sacrilegious toward the religious world. Nonetheless, he is flustered that for whatever reason something transpired in God or in the closed garden, to which end we would be able to know good from evil like he does. But we understand that means he just didn't want the new beings to have knowledge of something they shouldn't know as of yet. We'll take that. How does that mix in with this tree of life and the eating and living and or dying? How does that all fix itself together so we can read this thing in its entirety and appreciate the first thing you postulated?
Okay, beautiful. Again, the idea of this garden and the tree, I want to suggest to you, are not literal. I want to suggest to you that they are the reproductive process, sex, and all things analogous to sex. Okay, first but prime, reproduction. Now, if we think about this, if the command to mankind is to be fruitful and multiply, how now do we understand that if every man that was born lives on forever on this finite earth, that does not denote any positivity for those that are even born or those that are alive. It would be an overrun state an overrun globe. And so in that statement lies the truth of our existence. No one can live forever on this planet. And it was never even intended to, because of the threshold for life on this planet. This thing keep popping up. Sorry about the noise. Unleashed. But the threshold for life wouldn't sustain a forever living population. Right? Man, this thing here. Can you hear that? Keep on popping up.
Introducing
Bolt,
a powerful Android device and our fastest smartphone ever.
I'm trying to get stuff out of this one.
That is, it's gone. Now, simply this, it's a simple thought. And white people do it today, but they're doing it through eugenics and social evolution and engineering. They're trying to kill us. Hold up, man, I'm gonna have to cut this off. Trying to kill us through eugenics. Those things that even shorten our lifespan under the time that we're normally supposed to live healthily at 80 or even up to 100 years for us African descendants. So what I'm saying is simply this, brother. That statement, taking it at its face value, sounds horrible. But when you bear it out to its least implication, it makes all the sense in the world, being that, again, God commanded us to reproduce and be fruitful and multiply, and then what? Subdue the earth. But in an overrun earth, there is too much death, there's too much disease, there's too much doo-doo, there's too much oxygen, the fruit will grow up too big if there's too many, you understand, animals defecating. And so I'm saying to you this, simply God is talking about what we do as common sense, even in our homes. Even in our homes, we don't overpopulate our homes. We don't live above our means. And this is a natural teaching. This is not a doctrinal teaching. It's rooted in nature.
Brother Mike.
Yes, sir.
You know I don't believe in this God stuff. I need you to really come with your best work. I need you to come with your best work right now. And this is what I want to ask you, my brother, because Guerrilla Hebrew is about to come in the building. And then I can launch on him. Because you have immunity, and it's pissing me off. Nah. Yeah, you know, people getting at me too. Turn up. I'm like, we all turned up, man. We just respect each other, you know what I mean? And I respect Guerrilla Hebrew as well. However, you know, you the homie, man. We cool, man. So I had to figure this out. I need to know. Because God has a special plan for all of us, does he not? Mm-hmm. Here we go. God has a special plan for all of us. So since God has a special plan for all of us, what about the crib death, when the baby just dies in the crib? What about the brother who gets shot in the club by a stray bullet because the Negro shooting couldn't even aim correctly, so they hit the wrong person? What about the car crash where the woman survives and says, thank God, but the man in the passenger side, he dies? So we simultaneously are also thanking God that he died. How do we keep this thing consistent with reality? If God has a special plan for us all, if God has a special plan for us all, explain those occurrences. What's so special about getting hit by a stray bullet to leave this planet? What's so special about a baby dying in the crib? What's so special about someone dying in a car and someone living in a car and someone says, thank God that they survived? Are they also thanking God that the other person died? Why is this not consistent with reality? Or is it? Are these still special plans by God? Because we like to credit him for the good things and the devil for the bad things. But right now I'm putting it all on God. I'm not even considering this devil right now. Because God has a special plan. God had a special plan for us to be in slavery for 400 plus years. God had a special plan for us to be raped and castrated. What's this special plan that we're talking about? Because it's very vague. What's so special about our oppression for hundreds of years? What's so special about the crib deaths? What's so special about the stray bullets? What's so special about police brutality? What's this special plan that God got for black people that I just don't get? Because if you answer this right, I will shalom ak my way straight to your house and pray right by your side.
You can't come on, because we not far, because I'm finna give it to you.
I'll be right into that ceiling fan with a matching Scully sweater as well. Tell me something, brother. Tell me more. What's this special plan that God got?
Okay. Special plan extends from what you brought up a second ago. The command to Adam and Hawa.
Say it again.
To the command from Adam to Hawa, Eve.
Okay, got you.
Right. It says to multiply, be fruitful.
Hold on real quick, brother. See, someone says in the chat, you disrespect God and you bring a curse on yourself. Before I can even be aware of a curse, I have to believe in him in the first place. You can't go around condemning people or chastising people because they don't believe, because they haven't been convinced, because God would already understand there's people like me walking around here not convinced. So it's nice to put the spooky thing on there and try to have me so fear-stricken when I do have questions and I want to know. It's like you can't even understand that I'm actually trying to find out. We're not arguing. This is the best opportunity for me to get clarity. And I always give my brother the benefit of the doubt. I always say, you know what? Contextualize this thing for me. Or having said that, explain the rest for me. I'm getting perspective. Now, this doesn't mean his perspective is the end all. Right. But at least since we're having a progressive conversation and we're not talking over each other, I can actually hear his perspective and I can walk away and say, well, you know what? This man is absolutely nuts. Or he's spooked out, or he just has incredible perspective. I respect it whether I agree with it or not. But to tell me I'm going to be cursed for disrespecting God because I question his own existence, I think that's a divine opportunity that has been lamented by my consciousness. The ability to question what has been proposed to me about all spiritual things and affairs. I think that's part of our divine calling. Because only when we ask will we actually find eventually. But to try to put me in this space where I'm afraid to even question these things is the reason why I feel religion is such a big hoax, because we got people like that out there in the chat talking about you being disrespectful to God. I have not disrespected God, in my opinion, because I respect my brother here. So I'm exercising extreme caution while I ask my questions so I don't offend my brother. We're going to spar. We're going to throw pop shots. But let it be known, I respect my brother. So I only could go certain places. Even when he incorporated his family, I'm like, you know what? Let me find an analogy because I have a high level of respect for this black man right here. Enough respect to see if I can learn something from him, perspective-wise. I don't have to necessarily yield to the scripture, but I mean, he's going to teach me something at some point or the other, undoubtedly, if nothing else, just from his angle. So, back to the question. I'm sorry, my brother. It's just that people are taking my questions as disrespectful. And I think it's disrespectful to try to suggest to me that I shouldn't ask certain questions about God. That's just weird. And this is the reason why people don't want to even deal with it, because people who talk like that. What is the big fear? What is the fear? The fear that the question doesn't get answered. The fear that you might have to let go of the information because you yourself may have submitted or made subscriptions to the information without you even thoroughly perusing through the corpus yourself. I ask questions. That's all I know how to do. And people, I'm notoriously known throughout the community for asking questions. And people get pissed off with me. But the only reason a man asks his questions is either one, to antagonize somebody, or two, to learn. Now, maybe I'm being antagonistic, but I can tell you honestly, it's coming from a space of I'm open to hear what you got to say. Because sometimes on other platforms or in other environments, it's too volatile for any information to be disseminated and therefore assimilated properly. I think we're on a pretty neutral ground here as far as energy is concerned. And there's a great opportunity for people to hear this exchange and definitively conclude what is suffice for them to subscribe to. That's what this is for right now. Listen to me, listen to him. Take this conversation and see if it edifies you. Take what you need from it, from both sides, and do something with yourself. That's why we're having this conversation. I'm not having this conversation for your ego to think that I'm just trying to attack you, anonymous figure in the chat room. Go ahead, my brother. Do what you gotta do.
I agree 100%, brother. I agree 100%. And I often say to the people that do that, those are the fearful ones. Those are the ones that don't win anything but themselves, right? The Bible tells us to go to the hard places. The Bible don't tell you to sit in your home and wait for people to come to you so that you can share the goodness of God or the word of God, you know? So I love my eclectic friends and the brothers that even hate what I believe. I respect that because I understand why they hate it. Because a lot of it has been mistaught and misrepresented. So I dig what you're saying 100%. But to answer the question, the answer lies in the scripture that you brought up earlier, and everything that is the truth about these things, spiritual things, remain in the Torah. The Bible says that one of the first commands, again, is to be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. Now, to subdue it, all of that has to do with even keeping it. Adam's point to be created, to keep the garden and dress it, to till the ground and to do all of those things and be a progenitor so that life can be supported by this planet. But watch this, Brother Polite. You nor I never created the conditions or the catalyst for most of the ills in the Black community. Number one, we're here away from our native place. But let's talk about our native place as relates to this question. When I look at the UNICEF commercials and I see the little flies in the baby's eyes and they're going in the baby's mouth and nose and all of that stuff, that shit breaks my heart. But it doesn't make me question God. You know what? Why and what it makes me question? I don't question God because I know the first command to man to keep this earth, number one, so that it can produce for you. But then the other aspect of it is the fact that
hey, let me just say what's up, Gorilla.
what's up?
Peace, King.
The Gorilla Hebrew.
Shalom, what's going on, everybody?
So it's about to be turned up here. Hold on. It's about to be turned up.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Here's the answer to the rest of the question. When we look at all of those things, we must take what is called responsibility. Responsibility for that which we create, even in our own houses, and even the pain that we create away from our nation, right? We cause the hoarding of resources in our planet. Us, humanity collective, white devils and black devils, the righteous and the unrighteous. We starve those in Africa. We turn our backs on them. But again, as I explained the purpose of God, God is a catalyst, a creator. God is not a human. The human has a responsibility, not just to himself, his family, and the God, but the human has a responsibility to this earth. And that's another commonality between the Kemet teachings and what the Bible truly conveys. A real true love for all three of those sources so that this earth and all of the inhabitants can be sufficient. But today, we may want to blame God for the gang banging. But again, God doesn't grow guns and clips and bullets. Neither does God grow animals. and gangbangers and dope dealers and prostitutes and whores and the rest. We do that. And in doing that, we breach the fundamental commandment to replenish, because we still got black women today being suckered in by Planned Parenthood, destroying their temple and destroying another spirit and soul coming to a temple. We do those things. We let Margaret Sanger continue in our communities with the eugenics and the rape and murder and molestation of our youth. We do that. And so that's a hard answer, but that's the truth. Because the truth of you bearing the image of God is truly accountable. The Bible says that Adam was created in the image of Elohim. That's great. But we have to bear that image, and we can't point at what we have done to the earth. I used to live in Louisiana. I'm gonna close on this one. I used to live in Louisiana, and all of them oil spills. There's black oil tycoons, there's white oil tycoons, there's Chinese ones, and everybody. Every race of this world has raped the earth. And by default, rape the inhabitants of the earth, those that are in the lower income structures or those that are not. But the Bible says, last statement, the poor you have with you always. But the reality is, what are we going to do about it? God doesn't create those things. We create them. God only created us.
So, here we go. Blame the victim. That's how I feel about your sentiment. Don't blame the guy who created a system that can be corrupted. Because in any other event, we'll say, the system is bad, brother. Don't participate in the system, brother. You can't be part of the system because it's already corrupt. You Negroes want to be politicians, or you guys want to vote, but the system's corrupt. But when God has a system, all of a sudden, blame the people that are supposed to abide by the system. Don't blame the creator of the system. So again, I say, I don't know if I can blame the system for the crib death. I don't know if I could blame the system for the homosexuality. I don't know. If God is in the equation, I have to credit God to all those undertakings. I have to credit God for our hundreds of years of oppression. I have to say that's on God. I have to credit God for us being mutilated. That's to say being castrated. Okay? That's to say being raped, robbed, and pillaged. I have to credit God for that. I'll have to credit him for every plague, for every shortcoming, for every bit of poverty, because this can actually exist in the system. So you say God has a special plan for all of us. God had a special plan for every slave who had his balls cut off. You say God has a special plan, Brother Polite. So God had a special plan for the stray bullet that kills the brother who went to the club just to have fun. God has a special plan. So he had a special plan for Mike Brown. He had a special plan for Eric Gardner. He had a special plan for Sean Bell. You see, they would like to make me Al Pacino and the devil's advocate. But I'm just asking questions. Because if God has a special plan for everybody else, and of course he had a special plan for the guy they called Jesus. So now we take that Jesus model and we apply it to Eric Garner. We apply it to Mike Brown. We apply it to Philando Castile. We apply it to Mr. Scott. Pick one. Both of them got railroaded, court-wise, and murdered. I don't know. It sounds suspect to me that we would not accredit God for those undertakings. for me, since he created peace and also evil, and I understand you said that was said in retrospect to something taking place in Genesis, because I heard you. But I still would contend, if God is God, then God did create peace and God did create evil. I would still contend if God is God, unless man can create something that God can't create. Now I'm gonna be in another conversation. If you're gonna tell me God, man can create that which God has yet to create, now I'm gonna wind up in a whole different conversation. And I doubt we're gonna wind up in that conversation telling me man is gonna create something that God didn't create. Having said that, I will move on dissatisfied. I don't mind. It happens. We'll find more perspective so we don't become too redundant. I just have a hard time buying the God idea because it's inconsistent with the way that not only I think, but what I believe to be the common sense approach towards thinking. And that is not to say I'm undermining your intelligence, because you have a point of reference for why you have certain convictions. So that I understand. So I don't mean that disrespectful. I mean a person who's not yielding to the Bible as truth may have an easier time considering things from my perspective than they would from your perspective. That's what I mean by that. But
I respect that. My next point will be made again is the beautiful example you made about the crib death.
Yes, sir.
Or even babies born with AIDS, or babies that, I don't know. Those things are very hard to see as the will of God. But I want to suggest to you, brother, that those things are not the will of God. Those things are allowed because of the freedom that man has, number one, and the propensity man has for evil. Now, watch this. When we're dealing with science and we're dealing with sugar diabetes, something that's analogous to black people, we never say to the black person, well, you know, the white man gave you that. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Gave us diabetes. We always have to identify with the fact that it's either our diet or some other person in our family contributed to our particular plight as a diabetic. And so what I'm saying to you, even with the diabetic, with the crack baby, the crib death, and I'm gonna separate the crib death from all of those other things. The crack baby did nothing wrong, but the mother, the father may have done the deed that was wrong.
So now God has a special plan. So where's the special plan in the child being a crack baby?
Okay. The special plan was previously in the crack baby's creators, his earthly creators that formed him. That plan was dormant in them. And even at the point of it being a crack baby, that seed, that greatness that is in them never came to fruition. Because again, indeed, if you have a crack baby, you can't blame me or GUERILLA or nobody else. You've got to blame God. You've got to blame the parent.
You got to blame God.
No. Let me watch this. Watch this.
Let me tell you why you got to blame God. Because he has a special plan for us. If he don't have a special plan, I don't necessarily got to blame him. But if God got a special plan for us all, I got to blame him for the crack baby and ask, why do you have a special plan for someone to become a crack baby? Because according to you and many other people that make subscriptions to this God idea, God has a special plan for us all. So where is the speciality in someone becoming a crack baby by the fault of the fact that their parents were the ones that did wrong? The system's effed up. If the parents did something wrong, why doesn't God just make them barren? Why does God allow them to make a child to suffer the consequence of being a crack baby that they may likely not even raise, but be having the system separated from themselves so they can't even see the atrocity
Right, I understand that. I was getting to the point. The point is that again, as above, so below. If the Father of lights gives the command and creates, we still have to reflect the same goodness to our children. That reflection between the father and the earthly mother and father to the children should all be one. God never comes and puts a crack pipe in your hand. God never comes and puts a 4-5 in your hand. Again, choice.
If he has a special plan, why not?
1 second though, I'm gonna get to that.
Go ahead.
Special plan is the commandments that was supposedly given to the mother and father, and the Bible declares that which you've heard from the very beginning, right? To honor your mother and father, that your days may be long upon the earth, and all the things that go along with living a life that will keep you here to its fullest. So what I'm saying to you is simply this, brother.
Yes, sir.
Even the crib death can be likened unto what is in the scriptures. The scripture says that God he's the God that visits the iniquities of the fathers to the 3rd and 4th generation. Now, this lets you know the seriousness of what I'm talking about when we pass on teachings or we don't pass on teachings, whether we pass on our iniquities and sins as a bad example or we teach against it. All of those things are what God presents to us as Adam. You have a responsibility. And even in closing, even we submit to having a responsibility in the sense that we're so-called American citizens. If you shoot somebody, there is a penalty for that. And we can't negate the fact that that is a righteous penalty, right? To have to pay. Because if someone shot my child, I would want righteousness. And so again, we can't negate the truth in our community. When we got Young Thug, God didn't buy the pantyhose for him. When we got Jaden Smith, God didn't give him, the blouse. When we got Raheem Fatah, that brother I got on my channel, God never told him to allow his anus to get torn out. These are personal choices. God has nothing to do with it, brother. Not that.
All right, my brother. What we gonna do? We gonna live and let live. Because I gotta throw one more out there. I don't know what God's special plan is for the little boys and girls that get molested. I don't know what the special plan is for them to go through some stuff like that. So long as he got a special plan, it sounds suspect. Now, God ain't got no special plan for every individual that come into this planet. I could let him off the hook in this conversation. But if God got a special plan for every individual, I don't know what kind of God has to make someone come into this world molested. We would have to speculate why people deserve to be molested. Then we would have to say, well, then man shouldn't enforce laws against molestation because after all, God has a special plan. So if God has a special plan for every individual, man doesn't even need to make laws because he's interfering with the natural order of things called God's special plan. See, this thing starts getting weird and ridiculous if we really factor in all the nuances that consist of God's special plan. I'm telling you, just think about it, my brother. Let me get this guy over here. Gorilla Hebrew here.
That's right.
Gorilla Hebrew. I know as tempting as it may sound to be part of this conversation, I know you got like 4 or 5 scriptures ready.
He seen me do this.
I know you well. We allow you to get back to it. We've been on this for a little minute, so I want to give you some air. That's the only reason. Well, we can get back to it as long as we get to a new question. First thing I got to do with you, my brother, the chat room asks. They want us to go back into a conversation we had when we was at the Mondrian. We had an excellent build there with you and your brothers, man. Salute to you and your brother also on the background. Let me just say that. Actually, what I want you to do, brother, is to say, what's your name, the name of your community, Tell us something about yourself before we go into the conversation. I just want the people to know what's up with you.
Yeah, of course, your brother, Alazar Bonloya, aka the Guerrilla Hebrew, chief priest of the Sakari Hebrew Israelites, based out of San Diego, California. I got my read here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, King.
Captain Tazama Moth.
All right, so yeah, man, you know, we Hebrew Israelites, people should know what the Hebrew Israelite movement is about. We try to liberate our people through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Of course, all praises, of course, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is the Most High, and the name of His only begotten Son. I don't want no feedback.
Hey, put your shit on mute.
You know what? Hold on. I just need to really get this away. That's how that's gonna work. Perfect. So now, my bad. So yeah, so you know, we Hebrew Israelites out of San Diego, California. A little bit about myself. I've been in the knowledge of being a Hebrew Israelite for over 8 years now. Come from Haitian immigrant descent. You see what I'm saying, on my father's side. So I mean, that's just a little bit about me. Good.
Brother.
Oh no, still.
You have it on in the background?
Yeah. That's all.
We need you to mute it so the feedback doesn't come in, so we can hear everything you say.
Hold on 1 second. I want to see how I can do this. Hold on. If I do this, let me see. See, no, this is the issue.
So even if you turn down,
See, I got this. I got it all the way down. How can I do this? Just give me 1 second. 1 second.
No problem. You're coming right now, my brother. You're coming right now, family.
All right, we good? We should be good at this stage in the game, right? I'm good?
Yes, I'm drinking Martinelli's apple juice, man. Get over it. All right? Man, these people, boy.
Niggas drinking
Go ahead.
Coca-Cola mad at you for some damn apple juice.
Let's get it, brother. So I just wanted to make sure that the people know who you are, so when they can look you up from this point, they're feeling you, they can find you. No hating over here. They're in good hands. Yeah. As long as they rock with one of us, we all have great intentions for the people. Let that be clear. So I got love for you, my brother. You know that. Now, they asked that we pick up conversation from where we left off before, and then, you know, you and I discuss some topics we wanted to get into as well.
Yes, sir.
We won't make it long and drawn out, but the chat room said, if Guerrilla Hebrew is coming through today, Polite, please. Now, we can pick this up actually another day. I don't know how long it'll take us to get through it, but they said, please talk to him about if his mother is white, and the white man is the devil, is Guerrilla Hebrew part devil? So we got to pick up this conversation again because it's on high demand. You know, we come in with what we want to talk about, but the people say, man, that conversation was so invigorating. They like, we need some more of that conversation.
Sir.
Perspectives. Because, you know, Guerrilla doesn't come into the battlefield without that Bible. He always got a verse. So, which is what I'm saying, because he got a point of reference. So, if you don't mind, my brother, I'll pick it back up and we can work our way into the other conversation. Just let me know.
Perfect. Just real quick, give me the book of Habakkuk 2 and 4 for me real quick. When we say the white man is a devil, there's a reason for that. So I want to explain it from a biblical perspective first off, then I'm going to get off into some science first and be able to show that you can't be half devil. All right, we're gonna explain it from the perspective of this paradigm. So go ahead.
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
Book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him,
So if y'all heard that, it says the soul of the white man that's lifted up in him is not upright. It's his soul or his spirit that is corrupt. That's what makes him the devil. His flesh and his physical mutations are merely an effect of the corrupt spirit that's within him that goes back to his forefather Cain. When Cain committed the first murder on the planet Earth and slew his brother Abel, he was given a mark. The mark that he was given was the total depletion of his melanin. All right, he was made the first white man on the planet Earth. That spirit was reborn through a man named Esau, who progenerated the Edomites, who are the so-called Caucasian today. All right, now the thing about all of that is, what made him white was his spirit. He started out a black man. Just as we know, a white man is a mutation of a black man. If he is anything else outside of that, that makes him an original person, period. So he has to be a mutated, deformed version of a black man in order to even exist, unless you're going to call him an original person. So with that being said, the Bible says a false balance is an abomination. Right. So what happens is that wicked spirit that dwelled within him began to show itself outwardly, and that's what led to all the genetic defects that the man is born with. All right, but it starts with his spirit. The spirit, as it said, that's lifted up in him is not upright. All right, how do we merge that into science? When you study behavioral science and you study behavioral genetics, you will find that your behavioral traits you inherit from your father. Now, does that mean that when you grow up, you can't start acting like your mother? Of course you can. Why? Because it's something called nature versus nurture. You, through observing somebody and being in an environment with somebody, can begin to take on the traits of that person. Or physically, when you have a father and mother, of course, you're liable to look like either of your parents. Both of them, more like one, a damn twin to one, and not like the other one. That's genetics. That's random. But as far as behaviorally, inherently, you inherit your behavior traits from your father. So if your father is a white man, then you are going to inherit the corrupted spirit of the white man, thus making you a devil. A primary example of this in history would be the Haitian Revolution. Like I said, my father's descendancy goes back to Haiti. When you take a look at the Haitian Revolution, you have mulatto Haitians and you have black Haitians, and they joined up. The mulatto Haitians were not mulatto like they have black fathers and white mothers, but predominantly mulatto Haitians were of white fathers, slave masters, and black mothers. All right. So when you examine what happened in that history, they joined up, were able to drive the Frenchmen off that island. But as soon as the Frenchman left the island, the half white people who were products of the French slave masters instantly became white people, instantly started planting satanic ears in brothers, seeds in brothers' ears, pitting brothers against each other, ripped the island in half, and enslaved other black and indigenous peoples. That's what they did, showing you that they were direct byproducts of their white slave master fathers. So they are, though have black mothers, 100% devils. Even if we look in the Bible, during the time of who the world calls Christ, Yahweh Shah, you had a man named King Herod that the Jews rejected. Why? Because his father was an Edomite, but his mother was a Jew, or she was of the tribe of Levi more specifically. So that's an understanding that we always have, and it's backed by science. You see what I'm saying? And even things like post-traumatic stress are passed down from individuals to their descendants through semen exclusively. These are all scientific studies that brothers can go look up and look into. You know, it's all scientifically verifiable. We like to take the information that's in the scriptures and show that our ancestors who wrote these scriptures as inspired by God were familiar with certain aspects of science as well. So I am not half devil because I am from the seed line of a black man. You see what I'm saying? So just like the way they did the experiment is they took mice and they put certain mice through countless traumatic experiences in mazes and things like that, right? Then they mated them and they had kids. When they put the kids in the same maze, they saw the fright and the fear that these kids have just approaching the things that their parents seen. But that was only passed down from father to child. You see what I'm saying? So this is what we say when we mean the white man's the devil. And this is why, though you can have a mother who may be the devil, you are not the devil, because you inherit your behavior, not the devilish behavior, but you inherit your behavior from your father. Now, growing up, can you maybe take on certain things? But that's for any of us. If we take a look at how our people have become from living up under the white man, we become very evil towards one another and very devilish towards one another. I know you and the brother Star were discussing, is the black man the original devil and or the true devil? Last month sometime, me and this brother was checking that out not too long ago. You see what I'm saying? But what I believe is, of course, there was wicked people amongst us, but the white man is the archetype of wickedness. He has taken wickedness and brought it to new heights. So through his oppression and putting his ways upon us, we have began to take on those same ways, be it if you mixed or not mixed or whatever. We all have been pretty evil and wicked towards each other from learning, from observing from our slave masters.
All right. So I'm bringing all this in. I'm taking this all in. I'm absorbing. First thing is, did your father sleep with white women?
Does my father, or did he?
Did he?
Yes, sir.
Did he make children with white women?
Yes, sir. Made 4 children with white women.
Different white women or the same white woman?
4 children with 2 different white women.
So behavioral science says that you are more likely inclined to take in the same nature as your father,
yes,
not
sir.
your mother.
Yes, sir.
So you are more likely or inclined to sleep with white women.
I don't sleep with white women, so
But you inherit from your father.
But what I mean is the innate nature that you have. Your innate nature might not be the preferential as far as women. Your innate nature is, you know, certain things you do. You know, for example, when I was a kid and I used to go to get a ride to school or get some lunch money from school, my pops used to just wake up and sit on the edge of the bed, just stuck for 15 minutes before anything could be done. I now grew up to do the same exact thing. I don't like doing it. It's just how I am. You see what I'm saying? But to that point as well, let's say I may have been inclined to white women, but that's where the nature versus nurture thing comes in. Because growing up and being raised by my mother and seeing my mother, not so even so much being raised by my mother, but just seeing my mother, looking at my mother and how she was, to me, I wanted everything opposite of how she was. You see what I'm saying? So that drove me to black women indefinitely, even if I was going to be inclined to white women.
So behavioral science has been overridden on account to the white mother that you have. Now your father's DNA is being overridden, or the nations to be likened to your father, which is where you get your nature from, is being overridden on account to your experience with your mother who's white.
No, you inherit certain things and then you acquire certain things. You see what I'm saying? So I inherited certain things, of course, a certain nature, but then over the course of time, us as individuals, based upon our experience and how we take it, we acquire certain things. You see what I'm saying? So I won't necessarily say I would have inherited the like of white women, because at the same time, my grandfather was with a black woman. You see what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. So I wouldn't say as far as that goes, because of that of course, is based on experience. Some people grow up in the hood around nothing but black women, and they go and run to the birds to a white woman. They ain't even seen one before. You see what I'm saying? Then, you know, so, you know, that's kind of just based on experience, I would say.
No problem. So now here we are. You are of the tribe of Israel, one of the 12 tribes, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Levite tribe, the priestly tribe.
Now, your mother is a white woman, which makes your mother a devil, correct?
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand. Is your mother the devil or she's not the devil?
She is the devil.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So your mother is the devil because she's white.
Yeah, she's the devil because of the men that she descends from.
Okay, so your mother's the devil. And you are of the tribe of Israel, the Most High's children.
Yes, sir.
The Most High allowed you, a child of his, to come into planet Earth through the womb of a devil. Am I correct so far?
Yes, sir.
So now here's the quandary that I'm in. Why is God allowing his chosen children to come out of the devil, to come here to teach lost black people who and what they are?
For a powerful reason. And that
do we not see the irony in the chosen children of God being brought into this planet by way of the devil? In this particular case, your mother.
Yes, sir. For a powerful reason, and that powerful reason is going to be one of the things, it's going to segue into one of the things we're going to discuss. One of the things that, for those of y'all that don't know, me and this brother was going to discuss is dealing with, you know, moving out of the hood, you know, moving amongst white people versus living amongst black people.
Yes, sir.
How that all plays in is the fact that I'm not going to call myself an expert and an authority in too many things, but I'm definitely an authority in living and being around white people. Being that my mother's white and I have lived in the hood and I've lived in the burb, so I would consider myself an expert on that situation. You see what I'm saying? So certain of the Lord's people are scattered in all nations amongst all peoples. So you're going to have them coming out of different people in order to reach those same people. Matter of fact, give me 1 Timothy 1 real quick. Is that 1 Timothy 1 I want? Or is it 1 Timothy 2 I want? 1 Timothy 2 starting at the 12th verse. That's what I want. An example, and then if you got a precept.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just holding up.
There's a purpose for that. You see what I'm saying? During the time of a man named Ezra in the Bible, you had a time where you had so many Israelite men, and they were taking on women of other nations, okay, of all denominations, be it white women, Asian women, women of various African tribes that we were at odds with, and things of that nature. In doing so, they were allowing these children to be raised in the ways of their mothers, right? That's how they was allowing their children to be raised in. Because of that, there was a great expulsion of those women, including those children at that time that those men made an oath to do. That oath was not necessarily an oath that was required by law of God to make, but that was an oath that they made at that time for whatever they saw was a means to that end. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes, which I believe you roughly mentioned, you know, there's a time to be born and there's a time to die. There's a time to kill and there's a time to heal, etc., etc. That's Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. It also said there's a time to cast out and there's a time to gather. So there were many Israelites that were cast out, and they were cast out into all these nations. In getting cast out to these nations, they mingled with the women of these various other nations. You understand what I'm saying? So in doing so, when it calls time to be gathered, you have to start gathering. So certain men who come from a certain background is going to be raised up to do what? Raise other men up from that same background to bring them back into the fold. Because you have some brothers like, let's take, for example, Colin Kaepernick, right? Colin Kaepernick has a white mother, grew up in suburbia. People are showing the pictures. Oh, this nigga's pro-black. Look at this great home he grew up in and all this great white family. But sometimes it takes a brother like that to stand up to be an example for brothers who come from that same background and walk of life, because you are still inherently a brother. You see what I'm saying? The same way you can plant a seed in soil that's not so fertile and a tree can still spring up, it's the same principle in dealing with the children of Israel being brought through the wombs of other people, including Esau, which is the devil inherently. You understand what I'm saying? You got that for me?
You're talking about being an example.
An example, real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
1 Peter 5:3. It says, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples.
But being example, that's not what I wanted, but that's fine. Go ahead.
To the flock.
Being an example to the flock. So we have to serve as an example to the flock. So not just am I an example to a brother who can be mixed through the other backgrounds that I have. For example, my gang background. I'm also an example to the gang member. You see what I'm saying? I did this, or I came from this, or I was raised, or I was born through this evil white woman who did this and that evil. You see what I'm saying? But I still was able to turn from that and persevere all of that and turn to righteousness and follow Torah. You see what I'm saying? I was able to stop gangbanging and stop selling dope to follow Torah. You see what I'm saying? So basically all these things happen for the Most High's purpose and to call brothers who are stuck in various aspects of life out of that and bring them out of those trenches. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. What are the laws in the Hebrew doctrine for a child of God to be breastfed by the devil? I'm so serious about this. If your mother's the devil, is the child of God on account of the fact your father would be Hebrew?
Yes, sir.
Are you allowed to still suck from the breast of the devil, or do you get a different source of sustenance?
Well, you can still suck from the breast of the devil, and I'll explain why. Because like we read in the beginning, Habakkuk 2:4, her physical is not what makes her the devil. It's the spirit that makes them the devil. You understand what I'm saying? So that isn't a devilish breast. You understand what I'm saying? The entity that's driving her, the spirit that's within her, is what the devil is. You understand what I'm saying?
So her physical doesn't necessarily make her the devil. So blue eyes, blonde hair, pale skin, that which we know to be recessive traits.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't run concurrent with that which is synonymous with.
Like I stated in the beginning, it does run concurrent, but that's not what makes them the devil. I.e., one of the judgments white people will come against us with is, all you guys are talking about is skin color. No. Y'all made it about skin color. We're not making it about skin color. Martin Luther King said something, right? We all know it. It's not about the color of his skin, but the content of his character. It just so happens that the content of the character of the people who are this skin color happen to be one way. but it's not a result of their skin color. Their skin color is rather a byproduct of their evil spirit, which I reference in dealing with Cain. You understand what I'm saying?
That's a fact. That's a fact. So now here's the $1 million question. At what point do you realize you're part of an organization that's allowing you to call your mother the devil? Because, hold on, the Bible also tells us to honor thy mother and honor thy father.
Leviticus 33 or Deuteronomy 3.
The Bible tells us to honor thy mother and honor thy father. You turn around, you learn how to walk, you learn how to talk, you suckled from that woman's breast to become who you are today, to turn around and call her the devil. How does that work? Is that not a form of dishonor?
It's not, and I'm going to show you why. Give me that in the book of Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, real quick.
We know that calling your mother a devil is probably defaming her. How is that honoring your mother?
Because
to honor your mother, how are you honoring your mother? By publicly identifying her as a devil. How does that work?
I'm going to show you right now. What is that, about 9? Right there, boom.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 9. Who said unto his father and to his mother,
read on.
I have not seen him. Neither did he acknowledge his brethren.
What does that mean in that context? To his father and to his brother, it says to the priest said to their father and a mother, I have not seen him. Meaning you are not supposed to respect persons in judgment. Meaning regardless of the relationship you have with any individual, regardless of the love or affinity you may have to any individual, if they're wrong, they're wrong. If they're guilty of a crime, they're guilty of a crime. If they're a murderer, you're a damn murderer. That doesn't mean you don't love that murderer, but you just got to call a spade a spade. Go ahead.
Your mother was wrong just for being alive?
Well, white people inherently are wrong. So I will say that.
So your mother was wrong, but she gave birth to you.
Of course.
You are correct. See, you're the one right thing she did. She gave birth to you.
See, just because somebody is inherently the devil, it doesn't mean every single thing they do is necessarily wrong or detrimental to the world. You see what I'm saying?
You are the exception to the rule.
I'm not an exception to the rule. Like I said, everything a so-called white person does may not be wrong. If a white man gives you $5, is that wrong? You see what I'm saying? No. But that doesn't make up for the great crimes that their race has committed. This is the thing. I'm not going to allow, as a responsible man, as a man who is compassionate and cares about my people, I'm not going to allow the fact that there's a white woman that gave birth to me who I love, acquit her or make her be the exception for the greater populace of how I feel about her whole race. You see what I'm saying? Because the scripture don't allow me to. And even before I came into the paradigm, I had this viewpoint.
Hey, polite, real quick.
What's up, King? What's your name again?
Hey, this Captain Tazama Ahmad.
Say that again, brother.
Tazama.
Peace, King. What's up?
When the so-called white man kidnapped us from the western shores of Africa, and he brought us over here to the so-called Americas, right?
Yes, sir.
If an intruder came into the plantation and tried to kill one of the slaves, and the slave master came in and, let's say, rescued that slave from the intruder, does he now become a hero? And does that negate the fact that they still kidnapped us from the western shores of Africa?
He's a hero to that individual, and it does not negate the fact that they kidnapped us from the western.
And I would agree. So the fact that this brother's mother bore him through her womb does not negate the fact of what her lineage or her ancestry did to our people and what the punishment they have coming. That's simple and that's plain. I mean, you guys are kind of focusing on something like, go ahead.
What's not simple and plain is I need to know when we could turn the laws off, the rules and the regulations. So the rules say honor thy mother, thy father, and then now we come with the exception to the rules. Well, I can't honor my mother up until the point when she's a devil and she gave birth to me.
But how's that not honoring her?
See, but again, like I said, calling a spade is not dishonoring. When you take a look at that word,
is dishonoring, brother.
Well, see, but that's opinion. You see what I'm saying? That's your own personal opinion. Like you said, I have a frame of reference. When my mom was a drug addict, was I wrong if I called my mom a drug addict? Was that dishonoring her, or was that just being truthful? See, that's the problem with our people.
I still would probably, when they go in the public and say, my mother's a drug addict, I might say for some humility and try to inform her.
See, what I would call that though is sugarcoating. You understand what I'm saying? Now,
people don't need to, hold on. People don't need to know your mother's a drug addict in the public. We can keep that in the private.
See, but
I'm not saying hide the facts. I'm not saying hide the facts.
See, but
when I'm talking about honor, I'm talking about having a certain level of poise and knowing when it suffice to convey information to other people in the manner in which you convey it. For a man to be brought into this world by a woman and to see him turn around and say, well, she's the devil. Okay, that's dishonor. Because we all know how that resonates with us here. And would I be wrong if I wish death to the white race?
Of course not.
So, would I be wrong if I wish death to your mother?
No.
So, would I be wrong if I killed your mother?
No.
Come on, man. What the hell is this, man? Yo,
see,
brother.
See,
now you're talking crazy, man.
I gotta, you have to allow me to elaborate now, because here's the thing. Here's the problem with our people as a whole, emotions. Everybody is relying upon emotions. And the reason, you know why we rely upon emotions? Because the black woman is God. That's why we rely upon emotions. Because listen. No, because this is your logic. We're talking about the white woman, but we're utilizing and employing your logic here. You see what I'm saying? The emotions that are within our people allow our people to corrupt and pervert judgment, which is exactly contrast to the Torah, which is exactly why we need the Torah, because we need to stop sugarcoating. We need to stop calling spades spades, and we need to stop practicing nepotism amongst our people. When somebody's wrong, they're wrong. You in LA right now, I'm down the freeway in San Diego, right? Something that I'm familiar with is the gang culture in LA. I got brothers in the room, gang banging in LA that's in this room right now. Now, I'm going to ask this brother right now, OG. Now, let me ask you something. What has torn apart these hoods and these gangs and taken them away from what they were supposed to be as a community protection unit? What are some of the things? Would you say that nepotism or respective persons was one of those things?
Probably mostly like drugs.
Drugs, right? Now here's the thing about drugs. When we started selling drugs, going back to the 80s, when I say we, I'm talking about the gangs, we were supposed to distribute drugs to people and not do the drugs. But we'd be distributing drugs to our homies, moms, girlfriends, dads, and then we would start doing drugs. And nobody disciplined anybody for it. So now what's happened? It's spun out of control.
No stress.
Now the Bloods kill each other. Now the Crips kill each other. Now that's all that goes on. Why? Because emotions and respected persons got in the way with handling business and taking care and disciplining people properly. That is a perfect example of why we need the laws of God, because the laws of God being employed and totally negating respected persons and saying, nah, you wrong, and you have to get the punishment that you deserve for being wrong, whether it be just a simple disciplinary action or whether it even be death. When we come into that strictness and that discipline and we leave our emotions off the table, that's when we'll begin to grow as a people. But the more and more that we want to respect people's person because of the relationship that we have with that individual, the more and more we're going to slide down the slippery slope down into the pits of hell. Go ahead.
What is that if you see your brother transgress and you see him, you should be.
That's Deuteronomy 13. It said in the Hebrew culture in the ancient times, if you saw a Hebrew Israelite that was going to practice the ways of another God, you were supposed to lay your hand on that individual first. Because in him doing that, he's bringing in a system contrary to the perfect system that God gave us and allowing things like this to happen, allowing drug addicts to exist. If we kept the Torah, there wouldn't be no drug addicts. It wouldn't happen because the Bible labels that as sorcery. But because we don't, we deal drugs, we do drugs, we go crazy, nothing happens. And now we're in this position now where you can't even trust your own homies in your own hood. And that's a cold game. They bringing the poison in. Everybody doing Sherm and acting like that's cool. It's cool to smoke Sherm. I got big homies, they smoking Sherm like it's a damn Newport. They can't smoke a Newport cigarette without Sherm in it. You see what I'm saying? And then they introducing young homies into it. That's 15, 16 years old. And by the time they 19 years old, they goddamn brain dead. You know why? Because, oh, that's the OG homie. You can't say nothing to him. He done did this and that. Or that's such and such his little brother. I know he's a snitch, but that's such and such his little brother. So ain't nobody finna touch my little brother. And when that occurs, the hood is destroyed, period. So just on that level, something that we created as a result of not having nothing was destroyed because of lack of structure and lack of strict disciplinary rules. That's something that the Torah gives. Go ahead, King.
This finna end it right here. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or thy wife of thy bosom,
Go ahead.
or thy friend,
Read about it.
which is in thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers.
Speak about it.
Namely the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shalt thou eye pity him.
Don't pity this individual.
That's right.
If they wrong.
That's right.
They wrong. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him.
Thou shalt surely kill him. That's what the scriptures say. So this is where we get our strictness and disciplinary. Now, somebody's personal opinions and feelings may differ from that. But because I've dedicated myself to this and I personally believe that this type of strictness and discipline is exactly what we need, this is what I'm going to adhere to. You understand what I'm saying? So as far as my mother goes, I call her anything that she is that's wrong. I'm going to say that. Oh, my shit just died. Damn. I'm going to have to get. You got that cord for me?
Oh, I got a car though.
Gig, I need a cord ASAP.
Who got a plug?
Okay. That's so funny stuff, man. I've been kidding.
Hey, Polite.
His mama. That was the next question, but we'll find out. Stay tuned, y'all, for that answer.
What's up, bro?
I can't talk right now. I'm in tears. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I see you. Hey, we got Manny Jow right here, man.
Yo, can we see a visual?
Go ahead, click that real quick. We're in the car. We're on the road, man.
Yeah, give us a visual, even if it's dark, man. Put the light on.
I'm glad. Good job.
All right, I see something now. Come on, man. There you go.
With me.
I'm in Rod Squad up.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Got Mike hiding behind that logo. Come on, Mike. Stop hiding behind that logo. You're calling this man out.
Why would he call me out here, Hebrew?
Listen, man. My homie just said, I say, yo.
Don't try to say home boys and girls. Don't try to drive and do this YouTube thing at the same time.
That's what's up, man. Hey, yo, man, did you hear that conversation?
Yeah. What were they talking about? Who were they beating on?
His mother's white. She's the devil.
Yeah. So
I asked him, is it in the law for God's children to suck from the breast of the devil since he was born by her?
What did he say?
He said, no, that's okay. That's okay. He said, you get your nature from your father, not from your mother. So I asked him, did your father have sex with white women? He said, yes. I said, how many babies? 2 different white women. So then I go on to ask, so is it in your nature to have sex with white women? Well, being around his mother kind of overrided it because it's nature versus nurture. So now we back to the white woman. So I said, am I wrong if I say I want death to the white man? He said, no. Am I wrong if I say I want death to the white woman? He said, no. I said, so am I wrong if I wish your mother death? He said, no. I said, am I wrong if I kill your mother? He said, no. So and now I'm like, where's the honor thy mother part of the Bible during these tough times? You know what I'm saying? So, I'm red-eyed right now. I need y'all to talk. I need a break because I want him to come back on so we could finish building. It was intense. People was enjoying the conversation. You was listening to that?
Yo, hit it with the polite trap. Hit it with the polite trap.
I was done.
You being too emotional, man. You gotta follow the Bible.
Yo, what's up?
There you go. You gotta listen to the whole thing so you don't get carried away though. Yeah. So of course, naturally, my wife is like, "Yo, I can't listen to no more." I'm like, "No, you have to listen because you have to get perspective. You can't just cut a man off and don't listen to the rest of the conversation because you never know where he's going with the conversation." But you know, our sisters sometimes, I guess she's thinking, I don't know. We're gonna get you in soon, we're gonna get you in. Good to have you here. Ujaru, good to have you here. My brother, last but not least, we're gonna shuffle the deck a little bit, and then we're gonna get into what we wanted to talk about earlier. Last but not least, do you wish death on the white man?
Indefinitely.
Do you also, hey, close that door for me? Close the door for me? Sorry about that. So yes, you wish death on the white man. Do you also wish death on his white woman?
Of course.
Here's the $1 million question. You know where I'm going.
Go ahead, ask it.
Your mother is the devil, or she's a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish death on your mother, or is she an exception to the rule?
No, sir. I don't wish death on my mother because I'm not allowed to wish death on my mother. That would be dishonoring my mother, wishing death upon her. That would be dishonoring my mother. And
hold on. So me being allowed to kill your mother and you telling me that that's all right, that's not dishonoring her?
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
You just told me it's all right to do it. That's what you did.
If you want to listen, here's the thing though. What did I do?
You told me it's all right. That's not dishonoring?
See, but here's the thing. I'm gonna show you what honoring my mother is.
Go ahead.
If I'm sitting with my mother and you try to attack my mother, I'm not going to allow you to do that. That would be honoring her. Not just saying that. See, it's the same way like this, right? Again. You said what?
There's an exception to the rule. Is she your mother or is she the devil?
My mother, she's both. It's not an exception. I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna show you right now what it is. I'm gonna show you right now what it is.
Break it down, brother.
I'm gonna break it down. Again, we're gonna go back to the gang thing, right? I'm from Hoover, right? When I got shot with a man that's from East Coast Crip. Anybody who knows LA gang culture, Hoovers and East Coasters do not get along. When I was gang banging, I write ECC on the wall, cross it out, Toast Killer, all of that. But this is my man. You understand what I'm saying? If I say Toast Killer, am I gonna kill him? Of course not. I got shot with him by somebody that wasn't even one of us, mind you. When I say one of us, he wasn't a so-called black man who shot us. You see what I'm saying? When I got shot with that man. You see what I'm saying? That's my man. So of course, there is a generalization, okay, but are there exceptions that occur for certain individuals? Of course. My mother, of course I love my mother. You see what I'm saying? But I cannot allow the love for my mother to what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise the truth. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I mean. And that's the bottom line with what I'm saying is the love that I have for my mother cannot compromise the truth about her people. You see what I'm saying?
And Polite, you can understand. And Polite, you can understand that because if it was the opposite way around, Polite, if it was the opposite way around, you would then condemn this brother for that. Wouldn't that be? I
understand the brother. Now hold on.
What I'm saying is that you would then get on that brother for that same reason. Oh well, if it's your mother, so now she's accept to not be put to death or what have you. No, he's not gonna wish death upon her because that's his mom. But is he going to try to exclude the fact that she's caught up into the same judgment that her people is? No, he's not going to be ignorant of that. He's not going to try to shy away from that. No, because that's the truth of the matter.
Brother, all of that sounds good up until the point when I said, am I wrong to wish death on the white man? Am I wrong to wish death on the white woman? Am I wrong to wish death on his mother? Would I be wrong if I killed his mother? Now, if I ask those questions and he answers in the affirmative, yes, no, you're not wrong. So listen, if this is the case, then I then go on to say, is it safe to say I can kill your mother so long as you're not around and you be accepting of that?
That doesn't mean Whether I would accept it or not is not the question. The question is if it's right or wrong. You see what I'm saying? That's the question. How I feel about it is not necessarily whether your emotions sometimes do not have anything to do with being right or being wrong. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. Of course I'm gonna feel some type of way about it. But were you right or were you wrong?
I'm not asking if you're gonna feel a way about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, I hate to put this stuff in this kind of context. This is where the conversation is gone.
Yes, sir.
I'll get out of it soon because I don't want to be disrespectful. It's
yes,
just
sir.
that you have to be in that conversation. But the second you feel like that, tell me get out of the conversation.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, based on the answers that I got previously, is it safe to say just don't afflict your mother with you present?
Of course not.
I'm trying to find out when can we defend the so-called devil? Because if it was a right to wish death on her and even bring death to her because she is the devil, if that was okay, then why defend her if you're present? Yes, because she's my mother. Which one supersedes the other? The fact she's your mother or the fact she's the devil? That's where the question is at. Which one takes more precedence from a scriptural perspective?
Well, it just depends. It just depends. Like I said, I gotta honor her, so I'm not gonna allow harm to come upon her in my presence. You see what I'm saying? Tell you a quick story. There was an incident that occurred when I was very early on in discovering my Hebrew Israelite identity, probably about 2 or 3 months into it. My mother was dating a fellow devil, and you know, he had domestically abused my mother. I hopped in the car with a few of my homeboys. We hunted him down. We beat him down. We put him in a hospital. He had to have reconstructive surgery, broke a couple of vertebrae, etc., etc. My mother, when this occurred, of course, wanted this to happen. I did that because I honored my mother. I went and found this man and laid vengeance upon that man. That same night, when my mother got the call that he was in the hospital, looked at me, called me a monster, and went to be at his bedside for me honoring my mother. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I understood at that moment, of course, I love my mother still, but I understood at that moment the balance in the situation. You understand what I'm saying?
Got you.
So I'm going to honor her, but she has an innate nature. You see what I'm saying? Women in general have an innate nature. You see what I'm saying? And then women of certain ethnic backgrounds also have an innate nature, and people of ethnic backgrounds have an affinity towards their own. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, I saw it for what it was at that moment. And I said to myself, now, Mom, I rolled for you when this man did something to you. But if he does anything else to you, I'm not going to do anything about it. Why? Because you chose to be with an individual that does that. You see what I'm saying? So there's honor and there's a balance in everything. You see what I mean? So it's all about balance.
All right, my brother. So it got hot. We getting out of there. I just had to exhaust those questions that people asked for it. So
they asked, so we got to give them what they want. Somebody give me the water.
I want to cover more ground than we covered before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Otherwise, it would have been the same conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, so hopefully we've exhausted that point for them. I give it to you, though, bro. You say some shit. You know what I'm saying? Without hesitation. You say some stuff, man.
What?
And I might have to replay this and watch this thing thoroughly, man. We might have to come out again. You know, I'm going to study this thing, man, and really evaluate your perspective.
It's our own, because we might have some sort of
unique perspective.
But go ahead, we going to segue?
Now, about leaving the hood or staying in the hood. Let's cover that.
Facts.
And then pick up another conversation, do a part 2, and really get it in early and right on time. I don't want to exhaust the stream. I want to keep it at a time span where it's conducive for people to watch it, evaluate it, assess it, and then be prepared for the next time we do this. And we could do the next one very shortly. Once you got free time and I got the free time, we could do it. I'm open for it. But yeah,
yes, sir.
Let's cover this particular subject matter. You had disagreed with me in regards to me suggesting that we should leave the hood or leave the community. Talk to me about your perspective and let me see where I could probably give insight to where I'm coming from, because now I'm on a hot seat. You feel what I'm saying? So I want you to charge at me and tell me where I'm going wrong with my perspective, and maybe I can give you clarity or just simply rebut.
Yes, sir. What I want to say is this. In mind the prior conversation we had, I have a black father and white mother. I'm sure everybody is very familiar with that at this juncture now that's in the stream. So with that being said, this is why I feel like in this case, I'm an expert in this case, because I lived in the hood. I moved to the burbs for a few years. I moved back to, you see what I'm saying? So I've been able to taste all aspects, to go from low class to upper middle class, back down to low class. I've been in all of them situations. So in doing that, in living in white neighborhoods for a couple of years and going to white schools, in one instance where I could say you may have a point in doing that, where I could agree with you if you would take this stance, is it would be if absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Because I could say that when I left the hood and had to live in white neighborhoods in suburban Orange County, oh my God, my shit died again. God damn, man.
But you gotta charge it up, and I thought y'all can. Samsung could.
Oh, it's off. Hey, brother Mike, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, without a doubt, my brother. Can you hear me?
I need your honest perspective. I need an honest evaluation of what you've been hearing, because this is your Hebrew brother. Do you agree with what you heard about me having the right to murder his mother?
Well, if you've heard me and this brother before concerning this,
hey, man, I want to see your face when you answer this question, man. I need to see your face. I need to see your face. You're not gonna get away that easy, Mike. I know how you did it.
No, but my battery, that's why I closed it, put the icon on there.
Just let it die out, brother. We need to see your face.
Oh man, Polite. Look, check this out now. I've had this conversation with
the chat room is saying show your face. Y'all can get it now.
If I turn it on, man, it's gonna go dead, man.
Damn. All right. We're gonna pick it back up and get you on another day. All right, peace. That's crazy. Come on, Mike. Let me hear what you got to say, man.
Okay.
Brother. I just want you to know Gorilla Hebrew is back in the building. Weigh in on it. You said you had this conversation with him before. Is that what you said?
Right. And that's my brother. I love him and respect him. But on this point, we just part ways in agreement. That allowing your mother or even saying those things, I think that's a breach of the commandment.
That's what I was thinking. I'm glad it's not just me. Why do you think it's a breach of the commandment, his perspective of how he identifies with his mother under certain circumstances? Why do you think it's a breach in the commandments?
Well, number one, I think it would be a breach in the commandment because you are commanded to love and honor your mother and father without deviation. And that means love 100%, not love to the tune that, you're willing to even impose hurt on them. You know what I mean? Because you asked the brother a series of questions, getting more intense, even to the end where he said, it would be okay, basically. But that doesn't mean he doesn't love her.
Of course.
Well, that's his opinion, and I respect that. But my definition of love is to honor and all of the things that, okay, watch this. I'll make it short. When we're trying to understand what honor is, we have to look at the exact opposite. What is dishonor? And everything that was just said that was supposedly acceptable by the brother would be considered dishonorable if say, I want to kill your wife because she's black. It don't matter the race or not. The principle is dishonoring or honoring. And so, I just don't agree with that brother's position on that. And he knows I still love him. But I just totally disagree, bro.
Man. Well, I'll tell you this. He's still having a few technical difficulties.
It's really.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yo, we good?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to. How long has this stream been on? Hold on. Let me see how long this is.
Coming up on 2 hours.
Coming up on 2 hours. Yeah, because I want to make sure we don't make it too long. We might be able to just, because we don't do it too long again.
And you got to bring Bonk back on from the start so I can really get to him. You pinch hit for him tonight.
He's going to be on. He said his laptop died, so we got to pick this up. We're going to pick it up because it's long overdue. I don't know how your schedules are tomorrow. I'd be willing to really lay it down tomorrow and really get this thing going. We having a real good build. It's been no chaos.
If we could just lay into it real quick, like I was saying, if you could say absence, if I'm honest, absence makes a heart grow fonder, so to speak, maybe, you know what I mean? If you looked at it from that instance where, okay, I'm away from it, damn, I miss it. You see what I'm saying? Because I could definitely say that's how I felt when I left the hood and went to the Birds. I missed it. You see what I'm saying? But I can say this because I know you from Brooklyn, you from Brownsville. We was out there in September, man. Me and this brother, I'm talking about we're just walking through everywhere. I'm Bed-Stuy flat, but we just walking around Crown Heights. We walking around. I love Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn so goddamn much. It don't even make no sense how much I love Brooklyn. And if you didn't have to take the subway anywhere, I might move. You see what I'm saying? But see, at the same time, too, what happens is because the society is set up the way it is, our people have a seed planted in our mind that's called the grass is always greener. And not just our people, people from the East Coast want to go to the West Coast. I talked to a sister in Florida. She's like, man, I always want to move to Cali. I said, for what? For these brown beaches, man, when you got clear water down there in Florida? But the grass is always greener. You see what I'm saying? And as somebody who'd have been on both sides of the grass ain't greener around them crackers, man. You see what I'm saying? It's just not. You know what I mean? Cap, I believe you had a point on it real quick you wanted to say, though.
Okay, the last time we had a conversation, Polite, we was asking you about, how you deal with, your polygynous situation in the household. And the brother Alazar had asked you about, roughly paraphrasing, he asked you, how do you pretty much handle it? How do you keep it all intact? And one of the things that you said was that you keep the outside influences away from your household.
Facts.
That one of the points you was bringing up about you moving out of the hood and into the white neighborhoods because you don't have to see the drug dealers, you don't have to see all of that. So wouldn't you be putting your household or your family within the influence of white people rather than your own? When that was the whole thing of you know what I'm saying, keeping your household in order, which is, excluding all those outside influences.
I like your question.
You gonna put them in a white influential neighborhood rather than a black?
Well, we would have to suggest that the adult women would be incompetent, which they're not. All right. What we first have to understand is that we were in the black community first. Our children were able to make an assessment, compare and contrast neighborhoods because they grew up in the hood. Okay, so it's not so much that they've been dislodged since we moved out the community. Everyone is of competent age to remember where they came from. Hasn't been that long. And therefore, we are able to assess what it is that we don't like about the so-called black community. And what is it that we like over here with a diverse community? But let's keep in mind, we did not move away because we dislike black people. We moved away because the environment was more conducive. The setting that is more befitting to my skill set because I was traveling back and forth so much. It suffices to say that I should stay in this environment because this is where business is more afloat for me. People always miss that part of the conversation. Everyone else has the right to be a truck driver, to be a policeman, to be a part of the fire department, to be a teacher, to sell cigarettes over the counter legally because they work in a white man's supermarket, to sell alcohol over the counter legally because they work for the white man's supermarket. But if I go to live somewhere because it's befitting to my skill set, and business is at an all-time high in that area. It's like, no, Polite, just stay in the neighborhood. So one, business, duty rings. I stay over here because it's easier for me to make my money than to keep spending money traveling back and forth over and over when it's clear that there's a demand for my skill set, which is writing. And now a host of other things, because a lot of celebrities live out here and I happen to mentor a lot of them. So well, I have a lot of clients out here, I should say, that are high end, that have homes out here. So it's just easier for me to connect here and go everywhere else and come back here. Like they do, go everywhere else and then come back here. Secondly, the weather. Secondly, the weather is more conducive to the way I envision living, because it very rarely does it even rain. Yet there's water in the air. And there's a nice combination. I'm from the city, so I love the city. But I like the combination of nature and the city. To see the mountains, to see the trees, and still see buildings. Whereas in New York, a lot of the trees are replaced by poles. So I didn't just move out because I got a problem with black people. In fact, I love our people. I didn't move out because I got an issue with our race. I moved out because I have an issue with people in our race that do the things that they do from the community that I came from. And I have to raise my children under certain conditions. I don't mind coming into the community as an adult teacher to communicate or convey ideas for the purposes of uplifting the people, but I have to protect my children from the stuff that was going on in my community. They don't have to be subject to the stuff that I see in our community. And I don't know what hood people come from, so some people just sound totally oblivious to the stuff I'm talking about. But where I come from in Brownsville, I don't need my children seeing the things that we see. I don't need them seeing the random racial profiling, me constantly being pulled over by the car. Me, I haven't been pulled over since I came out here. I'm not saying it'll never happen. I'm not saying I can't get killed by white folks at random. I'm just saying the strife that I had with white people was at an all-time high in the so-called black community, more so than I've ever had any strife in what you guys oftentimes call a white community, which this is not even classified as a white community where I'm at, because it's so diverse. There's black neighbors here, ball players live in the same building as I, producers and directors that are black live in the same building as I. So let's just be for real here. The producer of Django, the producer of Boomerang, black in here. House Party, black in here. Okay, the Sony Records vice pres, black here. Okay, Anthony Davis was here. He just recently left not too long ago. So, you know, black people live amongst me and they're very popular. Rick Fox lives a couple blocks down. You feel me? Like, these are black people that are successful. So it's also great because my children get to see successful black people, like black people who have achieved great heights. So they can conceptualize that maybe I too can also achieve great heights. Does this mean they shouldn't be around black people? Like I'm saying, everybody that's in the black community is a failure? No. But what I'm telling you are the advantages. We also have a vegan lifestyle. There's fast food restaurants here that are vegan. There's no McDonald's, there's no Burger King. I never see it. There's not one for miles and miles away from where I'm at. There's Real Food Daily, there's Veggie Grill, there's Sun Cafe. There's like, it's vegan city here. I could just walk out my house and literally walk 3 blocks out and I'll have 4 options immediately around me before I have to walk another block to have 3 more options right there within the vicinity. Before I walk 2 more blocks, no exaggerating, and have 3 more options at my disposal, not counting the supermarkets where we see the CPU numbers or the command numbers that they have on the veggies tell us they're not second rate or third rate like the ones that we see when we in the hood that start off with 5 that tell us these fruits and veggies came from somewhere else, they're old, and now they're selling it to us in our community. See, these are issues. Now, what I'm supposed to do, keep it real and eat food that's not that good just because and suffer with everybody else? No, if I get a chance, I'm getting the hell out, feeding my family the right food, and I'll come in and educate people about the things they need to look out for so they can survive to the best of their ability while in that neighborhood. But I don't have to stay there and suffer, but I don't have to. And some people don't even realize they're suffering because they're complacent. The hood has become a prison, and it's like we've been institutionalized, and we're glorifying it quite often more than we should. There's many things that I've learned from the hood, hardship-wise, that I like because it's prepared me, business-wise, to just go for what I need when I'm out here. There's a lot that I learned from living in that community, but I don't wish it on my children. I don't need them to learn that way. There's other ways to learn. And maybe if I can have them skip some of that, then let me have them skip some of that. But this environment for me is ideal to my vision. May not be ideal to other people's vision. It's ideal to mine as far as the quality of food, the quality of air, the environment. We don't see a drug dealer standing outside in our community. I don't want them to see that. In our hood, we knew who was pumping deep. We knew it. They stand outside, they chilling, they making it happen. It's part of the abstract, it's part of the environment, it's part of the scenery. You know, people throw dirty baby Pampers out of the project window. You can't tell me that's not what we see. I can call my children right now, my wives right now. We lived in Brownsville houses, the projects. People throw their damn dirty baby Pampers out the window to hit the ground. Hot shit, summer nights, bah, right on the floor. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I know this. I hate walking in my community to see my own people throw garbage right where they live. But where I'm at, I don't see no garbage on the floor. I don't. I really don't. Now people say, oh, you're saying no one litters? I'm sure somebody's littering. I'm just saying, I don't see garbage in the community that we live in like I see it in the community we used to live in, because our people a lot of times don't respect their environment for obvious reasons. They're upset there, they're frustrated. It happens. More people litter from the hood that I come from than the neighborhood that I'm in right now. So we are habit-forming creatures. We are habitual beings. We're going to pick up these tendencies just living in an area, or we're going to have to fight from conforming to those type of tendencies. It's best that I take my children out of the environment. My children will be more susceptible and prone to violence. It's true. Violence amongst themselves and each other. It's just true. The way the environment is. The children jump each other. It's just true. Again, I can't speak for everybody's neighborhood. I can only speak for my personal experience and what I work hard to come out of. Brownsville was the trap. That's a fact. I can't speak for other environments. Maybe it's not as bad where people are at, because every time I have these conversations, Negroes, no, that don't happen. No, that never happened. Meanwhile, Negroes is telling me all the crime that's taking place. White people committing crimes. Be that as it may, I don't see the crimes taking place. It makes me more positive day to day. I can see actual crimes taking place. I can see people getting jumped after school. I can see the drugs on the floor. Okay, I can see the people throwing garbage in their own community. I can see the rodents. I saw the rats. I'm saying I found a community that is ideal based on the combination of the women I have a relationship with, the goals that we have for the children, and of course, me, as far as what my work ethic entails. We did the permutations. This was the best environment for us as a team to come in without anyone feeling a bit handicapped or displaced.
All right, I hear that, and some of those points are valid, but here's what I'm gonna have to say. You made a statement about should you just stay and suffer. I want to address that real quick, because this is my perspective on staying and suffering, and of course it's because of the point of reference that I have. But go ahead and get that. 11 and 24. Okay. 11 to 24. Hebrews.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 24. By faith.
By faith. Read on.
Moses, when he was come to years.
Moses, we all know the story of Moses. Whether or not people agree if it actually happened or not, that's irrelevant. We know the story and the principles that it conveys. Right, read.
Called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
He refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. As we know, according to the narrative, he grew up in Pharaoh's house, which from the paradigm of the way the scriptures are, Pharaoh would be the oppressor. So in this case, we could say he's like a guy that lived in a white neighborhood, but he refused to be called that. Man, read.
choosing rather to suffer affliction.
He said he chose rather to suffer affliction. Read.
With the people of God, than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season.
You see that? So that is one of our principal heroes in the scriptures, and this is the example that he sets for us. Rather than live it up amongst the oppressor, he came to suffer amongst the oppressed, to come and bring them out of the slums and the stupor that they was in the place that they was. Now, you made all those statements about all the great food that they have where you live and all these various things. But here's my thing. You know what they got in the hood that you don't know about? Farmers markets with more organic and better and more conducive food for your physiological makeup than they got in them goddamn cracker damn vegan restaurants, number one. Number two, if you took a look at the type of gentrification that was taking place amongst South Central and in Inglewood, where affluent black, in Crenshaw, over there in Crenshaw and Slauson, what they doing over there at USC, over there in Fruittown, what they doing over there in Inglewood. You see what I'm saying? That's a place where affluent black people live, flourish, and built all black communities. You see what I'm saying? And guess what? It's Inglewood. Are you kidding me? You pull up to Ladera, you pull up to the Magic Johnson Fridays, you drinking Magic Johnson Starbucks, but you want to go to the Starbucks and you think it's more conducive for your children to go to the Starbucks that got crackers on the goddamn wall. You see what I'm saying? You see the psychological error, I believe, in that statement, because we have to understand the propaganda that this devil puts out. He puts out propaganda and imagery. But in that area in Inglewood, it's anti of that, because all you see is black greatness everywhere. Your children may see affluent black people that make a lot of money working for white people. But you go into the hood, you seeing affluent black people, entrepreneurs of themselves that they can look up to outside of yourself to see that you are not just the anomaly in this situation. You can go to these areas that they're gentrifying and go and uplift the brothers, man. Because when you take a look on streetgangs.com has done a series of interviews with members of the Fruittown Brims over there. They right next to USC, over there off Jefferson and Vermont and whatnot, over there in the 30s in South Central. When you take a look at that, they're just sitting there wondering why their hood is being gentrified and USC is buying up every building on a block and doing nothing. You can go, being the real estate guru that you are, having the knowledge that you do, go and help them brothers save their neighborhood and uplift them and stop them from killing each other, or at least help. Instead, you would rather sit in Beverly Hills and do what the hell ever Negroes is doing up there. You see what I'm saying? This is the fundamental problem that we have. You calling them animals and you are criticizing what they're doing, and rightfully so. What they're doing needs be critiqued, but we have to understand the cause of why they are acting like that and the effect of it, and we have to begin to correct it. Not saying that you don't do things to try to correct that, but I believe in doing all that you do, you can put in more effort to doing that and more grassroots effort and go to those areas and help and uplift those brothers, because white people sure as hell are not scared to go in those neighborhoods and start buying up them damn houses, man. When we went over there to damn Crenshaw and Slauson, I'm talking about they making that look, I mean, it's looking crazy. You see what I'm saying? I don't make it a habit of going over there too much, but it is looking crazy what they're doing. I thought I was in West LA. You can even go to West LA. It's plenty of brothers over there in West LA. Plenty of you got the Playboys, the Mansfields, all of them over there in West LA, and they at each other. But that is a relatively nice neighborhood over there. You see what I'm saying? With nice things going on. But brothers who are in desperate need of your help, and a neighborhood that's in desperate need of your real estate expertise to try to save it and keep it black. You see what I'm saying? Because this melting pot issue, this melting pot thing are saying that white people aren't prone to violence, man. I went to white schools. You know what I had to do at white schools? I had to fight skinheads. You see what I'm saying? That's why people look at me crazy. I call the white man the devil because I know him. I went to his school. You see what I'm saying? I've been to his house and his Thanksgiving and his Christmas, and I know he's the goddamn devil. You see what I'm saying? I know when the skinhead comes to your school, and as light-skinned as I am, I'm the only nigger at the school, and everybody's saying something about it, so everybody's getting their ass whooped. This is what you are subjugating your children to in that neighborhood, and you may not know it. You might know why you may not know it, because you don't come home and tell your parents about these things. These are things that you have to deal with, and you have to deal with the stairs. And some people cower and choose to suck it in, and some people stand up and they take pride in whom they are and they ride for who they are, and in doing that you're going to have to get violent. You see what I'm saying? You're going to have to get turned away and things of that nature. And that's what you subjugate your kids to when you put them in that environment. When you could, in contrast to that, put them in a maybe less hectic, more black environment where they can see their people and see their people flourishing and not have to do that, man. There's plenty of people, man, that grew up in Inglewood, South Central. You see what I'm saying? Compton, who grew up and didn't have to fall victim to any of that. And there's some that didn't. You see what I'm saying? But you still got to be with your people. And to me, as what I see from the scriptures, the brothers that have the most compassion with their people would rather suffer with his people than go amongst the others, man, on any level. And
I'm sorry
die if he had to uplifting his people. But go ahead, King.
If I have to suffer, suffering is not cool. I'm not interested in suffering. I'm interested in progressing. Let's make this clear. I'm never going to be in a state of mind where I'm going to embrace suffrage. So, because I'm of the state of mind where I need to progress, my question is always, does the man who provides the hospital in the community feel obligated to have to live in the community he provides the hospital to? In fact, many people who erect the businesses that the community needs the most don't even live in the community. I say this to simply say, I don't have to live in the community to impact it positively. When I come into a lecture, so many people make money off of the vendors, from the vendors to the chair guy, to the insurance, to the security, to the venue. Just from me coming in the community, black dollars are circulating on the strength of me coming through. So what I'm saying is, I don't have to live in the community that I serve. Because if that be the case, I shouldn't go to other communities and serve because I don't live there. In fact, I'm on tour right now, traveling from community to community to community, serving. I don't live in these communities that I'm serving in. I don't live in Ohio. I don't live in Baltimore. I don't live in Canada. I don't live in Ghana. I don't live in UK. But I'm going to all these different communities in between this month and the next. But I don't live there. But I come in and I do the work. So why I gotta live in the community where I come from if I don't gotta live in all the other communities that I'm serving? Why can't I have home base somewhere where I'm comfortable because I need time to exhale and to breathe? Where I come from is a war zone. I've been shot, stabbed, and sliced where I come from. This scar you see right here, bang, that was for my face. I was lucky to block that. Bang it. Why I gotta stay somewhere where I've been shot, stabbed, sliced, incarcerated in a juvenile detention facility, and then work my way up to the adult prisons? I am protecting my children. How many children you have, Gorilla Hebrew?
I got one, and I got one on the way. I just went to ultrasound for my second child today. And now, and let me say this. I had an ultrasound for my second child a block away from where I got shot, and I live blocks away from where I got shot 10 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying, but I can exhale and I can be comfortable in the same place where I done shot, stabbed, and banged it out at.
No doubt. Now, let me say this. We all built differently. I had enough. Maybe you ain't get enough. I got enough. I ain't gonna keep being abused in the community because then I ain't gonna want to do nothing for the community. See, I gotta wait. I get to breathe. I don't mind keep coming back. If I stay there, I'm gonna wind up hating black people. You know why? I got a sister that I love dearly. I love her so long as we don't live with each other. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes we have family members that we can maintain the integrity of the love we have for each other so long as we don't live with each other. So, the black family in the hood, I'm not designed mentally to tolerate it because when I'm around them, I wind up in prison. On every occasion, I can't take it. I can't tolerate the fact that a man think he has the right to holler at my wife while I'm with her, no matter what she has on. You know, that's what I went to prison for. Because the dude came out his face to say something disrespectful to my wife, feeling like he had the right to say something to her while I was dead. This is what I shot a brother for. So if I know me, I don't stay there and put myself to task. Let me see if I can meditate in the middle of this chaos. I know me. Every time I got locked up in the hood, it's because my lack of tolerance for the stuff Negroes do that are not educated, lacking in resources, maybe frustrated, maybe not educated by their parents, maybe their parents are not there, suffering from broken family households. I totally understand all of that, but I've taken enough abuse from my people. I've taken enough. I need a break from that mentality of Black people. Need a break. Coupled with the fact that where I live grants me a better opportunity based on my skill sets. How can we tell a man whose job is to provide for his family, you can provide so long as you don't leave your community? That's just insane. I'm over here because I'm able to provide for my family way better than I would be able to provide for my family in Brownsville. This is the point we keep missing. I left because opportunity was put before me. I don't see no other person who the community is telling the heck with the fact that you have better occupational opportunities elsewhere. No, stay in your hood and keep it real. Everybody else gets to do whatever they want to do, work for whoever they want to work for, go to whatever school they go to, eat whatever they want to eat, drink whatever they want to drink. But when I say I need to go to the community, as a combination of the food that we're looking to eat, and shout out to the farmers markets that take place, because there's farmers markets over here too. But shout out to the farmers markets that are in the Black communities. That's cool. It's real cool. A lot of times white people running them, but it's all right. Shout out to them, even if there's Black people serving the fruits and the vegetables. Cool. But what I'm saying is the convenience level of us being able to walk out our home, don't have to travel far like we used to in the hood, to get the type of food that we're on, because we're on a certain dietary regimen. I can take you to Sun Cafe, okay? I can take you to Real Food Daily. I can take you to some places that are so strict about what they serve and what they don't put in food, like soy and tofu. Because a lot of times you're talking vegan or vegetarianism, people try to pump you with soy and tofu and carrots and broccoli. We don't eat those things. So it's a lot more difficult for my family and I to sustain ourselves because we don't.
My question is.
Hold on, real quick. This is important.
I just want to make a quick comment about it.
You need to hear this.
Go ahead.
This is the part you're missing. We don't eat carrots. We don't eat broccoli. We don't consume wheatgrass. I'm not saying anybody's bad who does. I'm saying we have a specific dietary regimen that the environment that we live in, whether it's Westwood, Bel Air, Beverly Hills, whether you go down by La Cienega or by Santa Monica, you actually have stores that also on the same vibrancy where they're not selling those products in the name of health that we don't eat. It was a lot more difficult to upkeep our approach towards dining out or picking up some food because people keep trying to pump soy and tofu into us, carrots and broccoli and wheatgrass. But in the neighborhood that we're in, it's accessible just by 2-3 blocks. We drive out the neighborhood into another neighborhood. It's accessible. So what we're talking about is this. You got to respect the fact that my family is on a certain mission based on holistic health, on a certain mission based on economics and wealth building, whereby we have opportunities here that just simply do not exist many other places across the country, because over here in LA is truly unique, especially if you're dealing with the arts or have writing as a skill set. At this point, we are out of place for suggesting to somebody, you should stay in the hood when the hood can't provide the opportunity that my talents are due. We got to factor that in, family. There's nothing against Black people, though I got something against the ignorant Black people that make living amongst Black people more difficult. There's just things that I don't want to see no more, or things I need a breather from. The garbage in the community, all the graffiti on our own walls, I'm tired. The bars on the windows is overwhelming. The police pulling you over every second, the brothers and sisters banging on each other constantly. Yo, it's all right. I don't have to live there to have a positive effect. I could come in like I go all the other places, state to state, and support and show love and teach or feed the homeless or give out toys. I can do the same thing from the community that I come from, that I do for all the other communities I never lived in, while living somewhere where it's more conducive to raising my children in a setting where the food and the opportunity corresponds with us, the people that live in that space. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I hear that, but that's why I said also dealing with the fact. I understand you want to get out of Brownsville, but that's why I named all of these affluent black neighborhoods, and one that I left out was Baldwin Hills, all in Los Angeles, all basically conducive to everything you said, but these are historically black communities, and we got to deal with this because this brother's mother, she's from LA. So she told us about the jungles before the jungles was the jungles, and the jungles was the spot to be at. We need brothers like you, again, who have this real estate prowess. Why aren't you going there and making the jungles the place to be again, instead of the jungles? And we talking about all these
that live in the jungle.
That you eat at. You said what?
The creatures that live in the jungle. We're going to call it the jungle, then we got to talk about the creatures thereof.
Where do we come from?
Brother.
We come from amongst those animals. So we studied those animals,
brother,
and we took upon certain principles of those animals. But then what happened is we got put in captivity. So when you put in captivity those animals, they begin to function a different way. So we have to understand that.
Brother.
But what I want to say is this.
Brother. That's a work.
Go ahead.
That's a work in progress. My children will be aging while I'm here like, yo, y'all got to stay here because daddy got some work to do over here. No, I got to also live for my children. I got to provide for them. So I got to find a through line between what I'm obligated to do for the women that are my wives, what I'm obligated to do for my children, and what I'm obligated to do for myself, so I can be equipped with the necessary resources and tools to empower my family, in addition to being equipped to be able to empower my community. But if I do for my community and handicap myself as a father and as a husband, then I failed. But if I am able to do for my community while also doing for my family, then I have succeeded. So I have found the through line that works for me as an individual. This concept that if we don't do it the way that the Black conscious community says we got to do it, then it's absolutely wrong. It's nuts, because all the communities people telling me I should live in, they're not going to pay my gas to go to work back and forth, as I am inconvenienced based on where these people are telling me where to live. Based on these Black communities that everyone's talking about that they don't live in, are the Black people in that community going to cooperate with me or work with me in the capacity that I need based on the people that I'm working with over here? I don't know. But is someone going to pay for me to have that experience to see if it works out for my family? No, they're not. These are just suggestions for me imposing. These are impositions put on me to just do something a certain way, and no one else is going to support me being in a specific place based on their criticisms financially. No one's going to support me financially or emotionally when I have to find out how to integrate this environment or use this environment and assimilate what it has to offer into my family. No one's going to do that. So I got to be smart enough to say, let me not try to live to the miserable status quo of what the community is trying to put on me that they would never allow someone else to put on them. See, we got to see it from that perspective, brother. We got to be realistic. You're not going to pay my gas to go back and forth. You're not going to say, yo, I know your opportunity was better in that section than in this section. Well, salute, Black Power. This is all I'm going to get. Ain't nobody going to really help me, telling me where I need to be and where I need to go and how I need to do it. Nobody else. All I'm going to get is words. I'm not going to get no other form of support. I'm not going to be as special when I start saying, well, help me make it happen. Keep me in that environment over there. Make the necessary concessions to me that'll match or make it more convenient for me to be there instead of here. Then we see it's going to get quiet. We're going to be able to hear a rat piss on cotton at that point, because no one's going to go the extra distance to make sure my situation is right, that they putting me in, as opposed to the one I should put myself in. Because that's what Negro's going to say when I fail. Well, brother, you should have did what was best for your family instead of listening to all these people tell you where you need to go. That's all they're going to do to me. So I gotta make sure that I don't fall victim to the Black conscious trick, which is
I mean, you know,
that you need that you understand what you vision.
I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, but the question remains, to a degree, the community is fueling your gas. You see what I'm saying? And the community is supporting you financially, because I know that you, of course, through your products and through the events and things you do, you collect monetary gain. You see what I'm saying from it? So to a degree, the community is helping you in that respect.
I appreciate it, but the community can't.
And then my second thing would be as well,
their support.
with all this, you know, this holistic.
Hold on.
I
appreciate every bit of support that I get from the community. But I know it's what I do out here that makes me eat in ways where I could even stay in the house that I'm in right now. I know that. So I don't want to sound condescending to the community that supports me through my bookstores and all that other stuff. I am humbled, but this is something called reciprocity that's taking place. They're not just giving me bread, they're getting something in exchange. It's a product. They're not just saying, hey, oh, this is a donation onto you. No, they're also saying, I want something in exchange. I want to learn what you know. Here's something in exchange for the work you put out to produce this product. So it's not like one-sided. So I won't be chained down in that perspective. Nonetheless, I appreciate every bit of support that I get from the community, but I don't want us to get too carried away. Because what I get from a screenplay is 5 figures every time. I never get 2,000, 3,000. When I do put a screenplay down and I get paid for it, I do get 5 figures for it. That'll cover me for a year worth of support that I may get from the Black community. When I get tremendous support, when I do events, it's because I'm smart enough to produce them myself and control a lot of the going-ons of what's taking place there. So, and then my vision and my ability to not be scared and market and spend money on marketing to make my events as successful as they're going to be. That comes from up here. Because if you watch everybody else doing anything, I know personally they couldn't possibly be experiencing this level of success that I experienced, because I achieved a lot of my success up here in studying the things that they call white man sciences, like Six Sigma resource allocation, getting QuickBooks software, like the things that I'm into that everyone was discouraging me and saying, look, that's that white people stuff. It's the very thing that I use to maximize my opportunities as far as monetization is concerned. Again, I appreciate what the community does, but this concept that we're paying for you to live out there is horrendous. It's asinine. It's not real. It's like I get compensated greatly for what I do from the people I mentor. I get compensated for what I do for the work that I produce, and still everything that I do get, I'm appreciative of getting it, definitely. But we can't get carried away with the concept. And I'm saying that not for you per se, but this thing that keeps spreading. We're the reasons he's there, and we're the, no, I couldn't possibly get my ghost with just the support I get from the Black community, the same Black community that cries broke whenever it's time for donations. No, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing other things, and that's what's helping propel me to get to where I gotta go. You feel me? And it's still not an easy road. You know, I still got bills, I still got things that's going on, and I still got strategies that have to be funded, you know, in my personal life, in my children's lives, in my wife's lives. And I take those responsibilities in as a man, and we work to make it happen. You feel me? It's just, we gotta be realistic with these ideas that we're pushing forward.
Yeah, no, and I feel that, but the questions that I have, and it's really not even so much my question, it's what I feel engaging with the critiques I'm hearing about you. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, brother.
The number one question I have is, I'm gonna ask a 2-part question. What's good with paving that way to get other brothers into the screenplay, right? You see what I'm saying? And also, what's good with taking these vegan stores that you raving about that exist in you know these upper echelon communities and putting them in the hood so we can stop eating KFC and McDonald's every day?
I'll tell you,
I mean?
there has to be a demand for it. We can't just plant a store in the community because we know it's good for the community. The community has to have a certain level of education. Like when we do lectures, people come from various places and they support the food that we produce at the events and everything, but they don't all live in the same community. So the community has to have a certain level of cognizance about the product. so they can patronize. That's just a fact. So education has to take place. Or there has to just be a different demographic that moves into the community where there is a common union or communion where we can say, it's a vice to sell this quality food. Because if we just say we're going to sell quality food in the Black community because they need this quality food, they'll patronize McDonald's more than us because of the lack of education. So it just don't work that easy. What was the first question?
That was my personal question. I asked about paving the way. Also, if you living now, you know, off of screenplays and you know, contributing to the, you know, the cinematic community, what's good with paving that way, opening up them doors, mentoring and tutoring brothers. You see what I'm saying in that aspect?
I believe that when I do these streams and I have different guests come in and share how they were successful and they endeavor to be publicists or publishers, directors, like I have Eric Wright, who did a lot of Ice Cube movies, like the first 10 videos for the rapper Fabulous. Also, Bow Wow's movie. He's in a lot of stuff, Eric Wright. Very popular out here, director. He's gonna be on the show. He actually was gonna come today, and he got tied up because of the new movie project he's working on. But he's also gonna be here. So one is this platform to share the information, helping people help themselves through education. You give them bread, they'll spend it up anymore. So helping people help themselves. So this platform is one reason. Two is, like the brother you just saw earlier, the brother that was in here with me. I always get brothers from Brooklyn, specifically from where I'm from, or Jersey, we neighbors. And I have them come through. I have them learn out here and get into the mold and give them guidance and direction and have them flourish and just give them a lot of incentive to come out here. I do that. You know, that's what I do. In B-More, you know, the Bangers is out there. I'm working with them on a project. It's Supernova's still online. I got a project working with him. You know, he Brooklyn blood, Damu. I'm working with him. Like I do what I can without spreading myself thin. So here's what I do for the public. Then I got a whole thing I do with gang members to turn them into businessmen and businesswomen. That's a fact. And then I got what I do here on the platform, which I don't get paid. Y'all don't even see my videos monetized. You feel what I'm saying? I be feeling uncomfortable with white people selling their products and giving me pennies while you have to patronize them before you even see me. That's why I be upset when people disrespect me and sell white man's products before you can come see the slander about me. I'm like, damn, you making money off of me, but you acting like you're mad at me. But you know I'm clickbait and you're gonna get more pennies for per click scenarios than if you would have just did your own interview. But hey, that's just me and the way I look at things. And I'm not mad at anybody for monetizing their channel. I just go through conflict with it because I'm one that's learned how to produce my own material, have my own publishing company. We give birth to our children in the house. We homeschool our children. I do what I can to remove myself from the system. I don't get credit for that. People point out all the other things, but they don't say, man, this brother doesn't have his children born in hospitals. Brother produces
Amazon, correct? Or am I wrong there?
What's that?
You don't use Amazon, right, to distribute your
Nah, not at all. Refuse to.
Okay, yeah.
Refuse.
See, and that's good. But what I'll say is this now, which is gonna lead us to kind of the complex question that I feel is like in everybody's mind. Not in everybody's mind, but in certain people's mind. Certain people who are critics of you. What is the end goal? Is the end goal to open them types of businesses and to educate our people, to make them choose better diets? Is it to get a black film house? You understand what I'm saying? So Nate Parker doesn't have to jump through so many hoops to make a Nat Turner. You see what I'm saying? Is it, and if you don't reach that goal, do you think it's a potential that you will get lost in the sauce? Because I believe that that's what everybody thinks is going on with you currently, is that you lost in the sauce and you caught up there and you're just another Negro that made it and the hood is in your rear view. This is what I believe the pulse of a lot of the people are. So if you could speak to that.
No problem, brother. I like the question. My end game is to become a conscious Black billionaire. I feel like my life is a donation. People say you got to give back. I feel like I give back every day that you see me. Look at this. I'm doing a live stream in Beverly Hills. I mean, who in the conscious community can say that over and over every time I do my live stream? I think that right there is motivation, because everybody else is rapping or part of some sports, music, and entertainment. Somebody's drug dealing, hustling, pimping, pastor of the church. I lecture, I read, I write for a living. Y'all know me. I'm from the hood. I'm doing live streams in Beverly Hills right now as we speak. I think that's a donation in itself. So the end game, the message that is the human paradox. For that reason, I was manufactured. The end goal is to become so successful in light of the oppression, in light of the trials and tribulations that I was subject to, the criminality that I was susceptible to. Granted, I come from destitution. I come from dilapidation as far as the schools are concerned. That you can turn around and still see me flourish, I believe my life is a donation in that respect. So my end game is to be as successful individually as possible to motivate the people that come from where I derive. That doesn't mean to be selfish and don't share the wealth. But my priority goal is to be something that we've never seen before. Come out the community and remain conscious. And to exhibit or demonstrate that consciousness through activity. I just want to create a different genre, brother. The rappers and ball players and everybody else get all the glory. I want people to look at me and think, maybe that's a rapper, maybe it's a ball. Oh no, he's an author. Oh no, he does debates. Oh no, he reads and writes books. That's me. I want to create a genre of activity where I make consciousness cool in places where it wasn't invited. I want to make consciousness the new thing. I want to be a pioneer in the venture to expand consciousness where the trends are set, where the fads are set. That's my goal. I want to influence people that are influential. So half the job will be done. If I can get into the mind of the person that has millions of followers, then I, by default, based on the wisdom I impart to them, will be imparting wisdom to millions of other people vicariously through them. That's my end game. That's my goal. So for those who think, well, it's tricky, or man, we might lose him. You're not even supposed to understand that I'm capable of doing this. Because this is an illusory world. So in order for me to succeed, I also have to create illusion. I have to convince the people that watch me that maybe I'm stupid enough to spend all my bread, spend myself broke. I have to convince the people that I'm dealing with so much women that I'm going to wind up with a bunch of babies and wind up on child support. I'm not on no child support. That I'm going to wind up in some female scandal. Not one yet. But I certainly have to look like all the things that have led to black men's shortcomings in light of their success or even during their failures. I have to look like I'm going to be vulnerable to being suspended in those same statistics. And in turn, demonstrate why I was manufactured in the first place, which is to convey the message that is the human paradox. How paradoxical that I can come from where I come from, have no father from age 8, have no mother up until 17, meet her, and she died the week that I met her when I turned 17 from cancer. Be in juvenile detention facilities, be in the shelter, be homeless, and then be incarcerated for murder, attempted murder. To go through all these different things. Banging, shot, stab, slice. To come out the depths of hell we call poverty. To be successful and not just regular success. Far more successful than even the most successful. That's the route I'm going in. So my story, my legacy can be what people use as the impetus to which end they may transcend. Because far too many of us are impoverished. Far too many of us have been cheated of the natural right to be able to compete in society and become something. I need to become the motivation for the people. I don't want to point them to the point. I don't want to point them to where the motivation is. I want to become the motivation itself. I want to embody motivation. That's my goal. So for those who think, oh, he's going to get confused, they're supposed to think that. That means what I'm doing is working. Because so long as people think that they got where I'm going and they're right, I'm going to wind up losing. So long as people think, man, that's a nigga at the end of the day. He getting all hype. He driving them nice cars. He with all those women. He going to slip up soon. So long as they thinking that, it's perfect for me. It's perfect. That means I got more time. I can buy time. Because if people knew how much more conscious I really was, I've already been stopped by now. That's my end game. The end game is to become a dramatic success. The end game is to become something people never seen before in Black people. Turn around and be like, yo, wow, conscious billionaire. That's what I'm going for. I'm not letting up. I'm gonna survive. I need to be a success story that we've never seen before. Because we know about us being raped, killed, castrated. We know about our cities being torn down, our Black Wall Streets, everything. Tulsa, Oklahoma. We learned about all the atrocities. But we never learned about the Black people who live and die successful. Or at least died successful. Because we keep talking about everyone that's been abused and been killed, but we didn't got no names for the people that's living successful. That's Black. Because whenever they are successful and they're Black, there's a catch. They're Illuminati. Or they're a sellout. And we turn them away from those of us who need the resources. So I told myself, I'm going to have tough skin. I'm going to take the abuse of my family. I'm going to take their abuse. I'm going to take the mocking, the ridiculing, the condemnation, the speculations, the accusations, the allegations. I'm going to take them all. I'm going to take them all. I'm going to take the videos that they keep doing on me. I'm going to take the name calling. I'm going to take the castigation. I'm going to take it all. I'm still going to come back and show them love when they know they don't deserve it. That's my goal, brother. And only I really know if it's true. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and here's my thing. You said it first. A lot of stuff you said, I couldn't possibly disagree with, as far as, you know, imparting wisdom unto influential people and, you know, utilizing all that. I'm with that 100%. I don't see how anybody could disagree with that. But I want to respond on one thing you said briefly, which would be the first thing you said about being the first conscious billionaire. If you could give me that, Sirach, real quick. Which one? 21 and 8. 21 and 8, first of all.
Book of Sirach, chapter 21, verse 8. He that buildeth his house with other men's money.
He that buildeth his house with other men's money, read.
Is like one that gathereth for the tomb of his burial.
You know, and that's such a perfect scripture, because you're telling me that your goal to be the greatest Black role model is to get $1 billion cracker face dollars. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's still on that goddamn dollar bill, then you are still under the paradigm and the imprisonment of white supremacy. Right. You have not defeated white. What you're telling me is you want to be the greatest success story in white supremacy. And that is not what I believe what we need. And I don't think anybody should believe that. Am I telling you not to get money? Of course not. I would never say that. All of that.
So,
but
you're not telling me
you just want to become billionaires. That's white supremacy. Go ahead, King.
You're not telling me not to make money. You're just telling me don't try to make as much as I can.
No, I didn't tell you not to make as much as you can. I'm criticizing that as being your goal. That's what I'm saying. Your end game is just to make a gang of money with the white man's face on it and live in his community. You see what I'm saying? Though there may be a few rich Negroes in there, that's white supremacy still. That's not defeating white supremacy. That's not transcending white supremacy.
Well, when you ask me about building stores in the community and teaching brothers about real estate in the community, it's going to take a whole lot more white faces on paper dollars to do so. So I don't understand which one. Do I want to do a half-ass job or an amazing job? If I'm being asked, are you going to create some of those health food stores in the community? We're going to have to use paper money at some point to accomplish that. So are you asking me to participate in white supremacy by your standard in order to create these stores? Because we're not going to do it without the money. I just want to do a superb job. I don't want to stop at one store. I don't want to stop at two. I don't understand what you're telling me, brother. I just want to do better than most. That's all.
Now,
where are we going to get the funds for
that's the thing.
to create the stores that you're telling me to create in the community?
Now, because I'm criticizing that as the end game. I'm criticizing that as the goal. Like I said, we got to make money. We got to get money in order to do these various things within these confines. But to me personally, I believe the end goal should be the transcendence of white supremacy, the escape of white supremacy by our people. You know what I'm saying? That's the idea. We're going to get our little chips now and do what we got to do now, but this is all just in the meantime. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're talking about. What does that mean? Be specific. What does that mean? What's going to take place? How are we going to accomplish that? How we accomplish?
When I want to purchase something, I don't have to use a green piece of paper with some white child molester's face on it. That's what I'm talking about. I want to be able to get there as a people.
How are we going to accomplish that? I know I got a vision for how I'm going to accomplish my goal.
Various mechanisms.
I got a vision for how I'm going to accomplish my goal. What is your vision? How we going to accomplish your goal?
Vision for how we're going to accomplish our goal is simply by living righteous according to the standards of God.
That's right.
That I mean, it's
I think it's not gonna work. Then I mean, that's
here's my thing though. There's a lot of black people with money. You said what? So like, what you said?
And I don't know how much people it actually takes, but I know one thing: with a business plan, we can execute it. There's PPMs, private placement memorandums. There's executive summaries. There's projections. We can be more accurate. When you guys start talking about destroying white supremacy and the end of the devil and no longer spending the paper money, and then I start asking, what's the plan for that? I don't hear the real strategy. I don't hear the analytics. I hear stuff like, I hear stuff like righteousness and things will happen after we become righteous. See, I can't fuck with shit like that. Part of my language. I just don't know how to respond to that because my brain don't function under those conditions where people can just tell me righteousness is going to change the situation. Because then I say, what does righteousness entail? How much people do we need to be part of this righteousness? How many years does it take for this righteousness so I can know idealistically what I got to do to provide for my family until this righteousness actually is fully executed? I have no idea what you're talking about. But if we come up with business, then we can start talking about executive summaries and private placement memorandums or ad hocs or one-offs for people to work for us, but kind of like in an internship. Now I got a vision for what we can do and how we can do it. Are we talking about business structures? Are we talking about a type B private gift company, S Corp? Are we talking about LLC? Are we talking about trust or irrevocable trust? Is it endowment fund? Then I know we got strategy. I can actually give you specifics, and then you can use that as a barometer to gauge if this can be a short-term goal or a long-term goal. Is this a startup company? Are we going to invest in a company that already exists? Is this tech? Tech moves very fast. Be careful if you invest in tech because tech is always changing. Is it real estate? What's the gross domestic product of the United States in retrospect to where they make the most monies from their gross domestic product being namely real estate? See, I don't know. Once we start saying words like righteousness is going to change things and overthrow white supremacy, it gets very confusing for me because I don't hear the specifics behind the word righteousness. I don't hear the technical terms that we need analytically to be able to fulfill or execute the goal. Do you understand what I'm saying, my brother? I'm trying to find out how this is how can I buy into this idea so I can stop what I'm doing? Because if you tell me this righteousness is going to overthrow white supremacy,
now look,
prove it to me and I'll be down.
I want to quantify and I want to clarify what I mean by righteousness so it's not just this ambiguous term that you are objecting to, and I agree. We have to be very specific, and we have to deal with the details of what it means to be righteous. So if you could, get that from me. Deuteronomy, go ahead.
6:25. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 25.
Read.
And it shall be our righteousness.
It shall be our righteousness. The laws shall be our righteousness. Go ahead.
It says, if we observe to do all these commandments.
If we observe to do all these commandments, it's over 600 commandments. These commandments range from business, how to establish a currency, how to practice agriculture, how to deal with other nations and societies and groups and ethnicities of people. You understand what I'm saying? How to deal amongst each other. So it not only will correct the moral infractions amongst people, it also deals with economics and finances. This is why the law is our righteousness, and this is what we need to follow. You see what I'm saying?
So where are the Hebrew laws?
Has stolen Afro-Asiatic culture and utilized it to empower himself and give himself sovereignty. When I was in Brooklyn, in your home borough, I seen a goddamn Jewish ambulance with Hebrew on the side of it.
That's right.
That man got his own ambulance in Brooklyn, and he did it through stealing our information. So what do we need to do? We need to take our information back so we can do it. And when we do it, we're going to do it better than that damn devil. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean by righteousness.
Those are the terms I'm talking about.
Real quick,
our information.
Real quick, let me get one more, please.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 7. It says, only be thou strong and very courageous.
And be courageous, number one. Read.
That thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest.
That thou mayest prosper, because within it is not just do's and don'ts amongst how to deal with each other morally, but also within it is economic guidelines and currency developments and things of that nature. Like you said about endowment funds. The Bible, the law speaks about an endowment fund. It's called the storehouse. To the priest, you paid tithes. You would take 10% of your crops, liquidate it, turn it into temple shekels. And there was an entire currency that existed in Israel with shekels that was based upon the amount of money and riches that was found up in the storehouse. So we have all of this in the Bible, and we can take those principles or the spirit of the law that is there and apply them to now and use them to drastically change our economic situation if we just would employ them, if we would just try. This is something we have never tried. And it forces us to come together as a people. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead, read that.
Verse 8, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
And you got to think about it. You don't just read it, go to school, read it, and you just take a test on it and you forget about it like we've done with so many other things. You got to meditate on it. You got to be thinking about this. Read.
Observe to do according to all that is written therein, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
Then, when we observe to do all of these laws, then shall our way be made prosperous, because in a part of that are laws that are prosperity. Read.
And then thou shalt have good success.
Then you shall have good success. If we just take the quote-unquote spookism out of it, and the fact that God is going to work with us and bless us, if we just take in the fact that if we simply just followed and did these things, good things would happen. Because there is a clear evidence of that, because Jewish communities all over the world have done it, utilized it, and have empowered themselves globally. And though they are such a small population, they control so much of the world's wealth. You see what I'm saying? And they did that through jacking from us, through stealing from us, from this that's been sitting and collecting dust on our grandmama table all these years. Go ahead, Cap.
Hey, Polite, one of the things that you brought up, you said this is why you shot a man and went to jail, because a man felt like he could press your woman in front of you and disrespect you. According to the scriptures, that is contrary to law, and it's a punishment for that. And we need to rid ourselves from that within our community. This is what we're pushing in the community.
Which one? Rid yourselves of me?
That's right.
Rid yourselves of me or the guy who did the disrespect?
You said no. The law is against the guy that did the disrespect. Because Yahweh Shah taught us what? He said, if you look at another man's wife and you have the thought of that lust, you have committed that act that you wanted to do anyway, rendering you what? Worthy of that punishment, which would be death. You understand what I'm saying?
Because that's one of the things that you said you were trying to escape from the community. There's things that you could not tolerate in the community. One of those things was, you said, which is what caused you to shoot a man, because a dude pressed your wife right in front of you, which is disrespecting not only your wife, but also you as well. You know what I'm saying? Primarily, it's disrespecting you. He felt like he could do that in front of you. You said, these are the things you can't tolerate. I can't tolerate it either.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't tolerate these things either. So I want to rid the community of those behaviors and those mindsets just as much as you. Thing is, I got to be in the community in order. I feel like I got to be in the community in order to, you know what I'm saying, effectively.
Well, this is what I tell you, brother. We got to have different tiers of a response system. everybody is not meant to stay there and do the work, but we need somebody to stay there and do the work, and we need somebody to leave to be able to do work and be compensated in ways to impact the people based on the resources that they've also accumulated by leaving. Okay, if a community is lacking resources, it's very likely we have to leave it to accumulate resources to bring it back. So all I'm saying is we have to respect each other's personal or individual decision to impact their community the best way they feel is suffice without also hindering their ability to provide for their family. So I commend you, brothers, for staying in the neighborhood and doing what you feel is suffice to help the community. And all I ask is for the same respect, because I still appreciate my community. I still appreciate where I'm from. I still love our people in general, though I can do without the insanity, but I also understand where the product of insanity comes from, for the most part, without evading responsibility or accountability. That is to say, though, that which we should put on ourselves. I understand the nuances. We just gotta respect the fact that some people are going to affect the community from the outside, and some of us are going to affect the community from the inside. We gotta respect that. But the concept that everyone has to stay in there is completely wrong. It's exaggerative, and we're romanticizing on a Black form of rhetoric, a Black conscious rhetoric that will hinder us in our opportunity to grow as a whole, because it's going to wind up creating a subtle divide amongst the people in the community and those who left. And that is something we can't afford to do. We got to embrace everybody so long as their mission is to still see to it that our race progresses and or advances. So with that, I thank you, brothers. I'm gonna close out. We have to keep up the build. We have to get into this conversation again. Just like we picked up the other conversation, we have to pick this one up and really go through it thoroughly, because I really want to get into it. I just don't want to make the stream too long. Even though when people say, man, the streams are too long, I say, why don't you just watch some of it and watch some more of it later, like you would watch different videos. But I see that's very difficult for some people. While other people say, I like it, and if I can't watch the whole thing straight, I continue where I left off. Because if you watch a video on your phone, believe it, when you turn your phone off, it dies, you charge it, you go back to the video, it continues right where you left off. Technology is very, very much so upgraded these days. Y'all don't have to worry about putting too much thought into it. All you gotta do is go back to the same video and it will literally pick up right where you left off. So I thank you all for showing up. Be sure to go to 2012stores.com to get any of our books or DVDs. Be sure to catch me out there in Baltimore and Ohio. I'll be in Baltimore on the 17th. We put the flyer at the beginning of the video. I really appreciate everybody's effort to make it on the stream. All 800 plus that's still sitting in here. Thank you so much. Of course, we did another 1,000 plus today, which was great. I'm glad on such short notice that we can make these type of conversations manifest, because it's needed. Guerrilla Hebrew, you brought great perspective, especially in this part of the conversation. Great questioning. I thank you for just being honest with your questions. And then, you know, I brought some questions to you. So we did a good job together, my brother. I appreciate it. I'm sure that people learned quite a bit. And thank my brother that's been working with you, responding to the Bible in due fashion and in real time. I thank him for contributing that to the platform to give people more insight about the scriptures. You're definitely one of the best people to pierce through that Bible and give great response time to the things that you hear. I believe that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, you should back up your statements or preference your statements based on references that come from the scripture that you yield to. So I thank you for that. I can't thank you enough. And you know what? I thank you for it not being chaotic, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very rarely do brothers who don't come from the same faith or spiritual disposition can we have this kind of conversation without even talking over each other, man. So I really thank you for that. And if Michael Edwards is still on, I also thank him for having an intellectual conversation because we see it can't exist. We did a great job together. You know, we did a great job together listening to each other. And as we could clearly see, we did the numbers. So it wasn't that we were boring, even though we wasn't disrespecting each other or cursing each other out. We did a great job together. And I think we should have more dialogues like this because it's easier to learn from it. And it makes less people grimace. So, Gorilla, do you have anything to close out with? You want to say?
Yeah, we'll continue this again. We'll continue this again. Of course, I got to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But also, and maybe in the next one we can talk about. I'd like to bring that up, Black banks, if you ready to go.
Black what?
Black banks, black financial institutions.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, we may agree on that. I'm not sure what's going to go on, but I'm with it.
Yeah, my question would be, are you planning on potentially moving any of your, your liquid cash into any of the black financial institutions that exist in Los Angeles?
We'll discuss that for the next show.
Hey, perfect. It was a pleasure always, brother.
Yeah, Brother Polite, I want to say thank you too, man. I appreciate your platform, brother. That's always intellectual over here, and I dig it. It's great. And to the brother Mighty, I'm about to call you Mighty Hebrew, brother. Gorilla Hebrew, Silverback. Great job. And
Yes, sir.
I love you, my brother.
Love always you, brother Michael Edwards. Shalom, brother.
All the time.
All right, my brothers, we out. Thank the family in the chat. I know today I didn't allow y'all to come in the chat. I feel bad about it. It's just that we took some time before we got everybody on. And so I couldn't close out the way I normally like to because I don't want to rush the people who come on. But next time, I'm going to make extra time for the people to come into the chat room. So stay tuned because we might be doing this tomorrow. We might be doing it the day after. But we definitely going to be doing it again. Peace.